Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and of course, you're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. And in just a couple weeks, when August hits, it'll be the beginning of the 49th year. That's right. Okay, we've got a lot to cover, and what I'm starting with is something I didn't think I'd be talking about for a while. But President Trump talked about it twice yesterday, and then something happened on CNN. So something is going on, and something's about to happen. And as always, you know, President Trump has a plan. And what I'm talking about is the list and the files and all of that and everything that goes around it. President Trump twice yesterday talked about the files and the list and said some things. So what's going on here? I'm going to play you in a moment the couple of clips of President Trump, and then I'll get into the CNN thing a little bit later, and I'll share my theories. But, you know, you got to understand something here. The Democrats are in a complete panic right now. They're in a complete panic. They're in disarray. They have no leadership. They have no prospects. They were rejected by their own people. President Trump not only won all the battleground states, he got a lot of Democrats to vote for him in Pennsylvania and elsewhere. Why do you think Fetterman is running around talking like Ronald Reagan all the time? It's because President Trump has woken up and red-pilled, magnetized a bunch of lifelong Democrats who were fed up with the government and have seen the light as to what's actually going on. And because the Democrats are in a state of panic, and make no mistake about it, they are. And panic is hysterics and fear. So when someone's in a panic attack, when they're suffering from anxiety, when they're living through some fearful event in life, that's when they start making all the wrong choices on everything that they do. And that makes it easier for us and, of course, President Trump to get what he needs to get done and manipulate these losers. So let me just play this. Let me dive right into it. This is the first clip. This is President Trump. He's standing next to Carolyn Leavitt, and he's in front of the White House on the South Lawn getting ready to head to that AI conference that he went to in Pennsylvania yesterday.
No, she's given us just a very quick briefing. And in terms of the credibility...
Okay, now the reporter had asked, her or she, that's Pam Bondi. The reporter asked if Pam Bondi gave him a briefing on the Epstein files.
No, she's given us just a very quick briefing. And in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen, and I would say that, these files were made up by Comey. They were made up by Obama. They were made up by the Biden we went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it, but she's handled it very well, and it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release. Yeah.
Okay. Now that was the first time. That was before he left for the AI conference yesterday. So the couple things he said there at the end. He said Pam Bondi can release whatever she wants. So he's given the green light to release the files that the other day he said, less than a week ago, said we shouldn't be even talking about it anymore. But then in the beginning, President Trump said something that was really interesting. He said these files were made up by Comey and Obama, and he listed some others. So what he's saying is there's a lot of fiction in there, maybe complete fiction. So when I first heard that yesterday, I thought, well, he's taking questions. Somebody asked and he answered, but he didn't snap back at him. When these questions were asked a few days ago, he was like, why are we talking about this? Stop talking about it. Don't talk about it. It's boring. But he didn't do any of that. He gave a very detailed answer. Talked about how Comey and Obama and others manufactured these files, and then he gave Pam Bondi the green light to release them. Total different reaction than he had the other day. And then he's on the tarmac at Air Force One, at Andrews. I still call it Andrews Air Force Base, this Joint Base Andrews. I just can't get used to that. It's always been Andrews Air Force Base to me. That's what it was when I was growing up. Now, here he is on the tarmac at Andrews in front of Air Force One, and he's asked about it again.
Mr. President, I know you've urged people to move on, but I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story and so upset about how it's been handled?
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't. And the credible information's been given. Don't forget, we went through years of the Mueller witch hunt and all of the different things, the Steele dossier, which was all fake. All that information was fake. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think, well, really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say, let them have it.
Okay, so then he gave his green light to release it again. But then, before that, President Trump said that it's fiction. And he talked about the Russian dossier. Now, I'm going to mention just briefly what the Russian dossier is. I do from time to time because no one tells you. But the Russian dossier about Trump that they paraded around and tried to blackmail him with and everything else, absurd, that they still reference all the time. It's so absurd. The Russian dossier, what it said was that when President Trump was in Moscow for the Miss Universe pageant, that he rented the hotel room that Obama slept in when he was in Russia, that President Trump hired 2 Russian prostitutes who got on the bed, I know this is crazy, urinated on the bed while he was watching in the corner taking care of himself, and Putin has video of this. And I've talked about this at length. It's so absurd. You know, if you read a lot of the Russian intelligence after the Second World War when they were interrogating the Nazi prisoners, there's a lot in there about urination and Hitler. The Russians, for some reason, are obsessed with urination and sex, and they put this in a lot of things. I don't know why, but they do. It's very strange, very bizarre, but they are and they do. And anything that talks about urination is Russian lies, okay? That's one. But and that was the Russian dossier about Trump. So, but he said the fake Russia dossier, the fake Mueller investigation, when he's referencing the Epstein files. So he's made a reference, yet again, that the Epstein files are complete works of fiction created by Obama, Comey, and others. And gave the green light again for the second time in the same day to Pam Bondi to release them. Then something else happened on CNN, which I'll get to after the break. Because this, and I didn't think, when President Trump said this yesterday, I didn't think too much of it. I'm not one of these people that's, talking every day endlessly about this. I'm waiting for new developments. And I said the other day, when there are new developments in the story, I will cover it. And there have been new developments. These were the first 2 pieces yesterday with the president, and then the happening on CNN. But first, I want to tell you about the free doorbell camera from Slomin's that you can get for free with the installation of your Slomin Shield. This is an absolutely amazing thing. And to be able to get it for free, with the Slomin's doorbell camera, you get a notification on your phone anytime there's movement in front of your house. And you don't have to have a house. You can have this on a condo or an apartment as well. It's part of the security system we have at the radio station, too, and that's in an office building. It's spectacular. And the footage is very, very good. You can see it in real time very well. And you can get a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone with the installation of your Slomin Shield. Slomin's is also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. They're going to give you an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts for your doors and windows, a lifetime warranty, and a backup battery. Plus, you'll get a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call, 833-283-5050. And by the way, no matter where you're located, give them a call. It also makes a great gift for mom, for dad, for grandma, grandpa, or your adult children that are out on their own. 833-283-5050, 833-283-5050. If you're on hold, stand by. I certainly want to hear your thoughts on all of this. The number's toll-free no matter where you're tuned into us at 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. Now, I want to tell you guys, if you want to get a good night's sleep, get yourself a 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. You know, you can get a 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper with my promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com for 30% off. I've been sleeping on my MyPillow mattress topper, as has my wife next to me, for years. I get about 4 hours of sleep a night, between 4 and 5 hours, depending on what night of the week. You know, what the MyPillow mattress topper does, it turns your entire bed into a big MyPillow. So that 4 to 5 hours of sleep I get every night is deep, well-rested sleep because of that mattress topper. You know, it comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee, a 10-year warranty. It's machine washable and dryable, and it will change your life, let me tell you. You know, when I was a kid growing up, and I know a lot of you are old enough to remember this, you used to be able to flip mattresses. Remember that? Remember the days when you could flip a mattress? You'd have a mattress, and then, you know, for whatever reason, it got lumpy, lopsided or something, and you'd flip it over, and then it was like having a brand new mattress. Well, years ago, the mattress companies, they got real wise to that. You can't flip mattresses anymore. It's like a box spring underneath, right? So if you've got, and mattresses are expensive. If you have a lumpy, bumpy mattress, a lopsided mattress, or think you need a new mattress, go to MyPillow.com. Get your 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. It comes in every mattress size there is. Use my promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, and get 30% off. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. All right, guys, and you can also order your MyPillow mattress topper over the phone, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879, promo code KANE. Order yours. It'll change your life. I promise you, you'll love it. All right, so much happening, so much going on. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to take some calls when we get back, and we'll be back in about a minute, and then going to get into some other things as well on the program, because a lot's happened, but I want to cover this in the beginning. Trump is up to something, and I haven't even gotten into the CNN part yet, but I'll take some calls before I get into the CNN portion. If you're new to the program, we're in a radio station break right now. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe, all right? My alligator Alcatraz coffee cup is in the dishwasher. All right, 30 seconds about. Welcome, Patrick. Okay, we're back. I want to take some calls. So something is going on here. I want to hear your thoughts on what the president said yesterday, and then there's more that I haven't gotten to yet. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, good morning. This is Melissa calling from Rome, New York.
All right, Melissa, what's up?
My thought is, I think why people are so upset about it isn't getting the list. It's the fact that children and underage girls were hurt and it's about the trafficking. I think that's the big deal.
Yeah, but my whole life, and I'm sure you too, we've been hearing people call for the release of all the JFK assassination files. Remember that? All our lives.
Sure.
They've made how many movies and documentaries have been made, and how many books have been written. They released all the files unredacted a few weeks ago, and you know what's in them? You know what they found?
Nothing.
Correct. When people are doing crime, they don't typically keep records of it.
And that's a great point, but here's my point. I 100% agree with you, and let's move on. But the fact is that underage girls were trafficked.
Yeah.
And I think people are just angry about that, which we all have the right to be, because it just shows what scumbags they are.
Well, look, President Trump has shut down the largest sex trafficking and child trafficking operation in the history of humanity when he shut down the southern border.
Very good point, by shutting down the border. Very good point.
So,
all right, I just had to say that. Appreciate you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you. All right, take care. From New York. Yeah. So then, and I heard the president talk about this yesterday, and obviously he's changed his tune, right? Those two clips I played for you. Yeah, he didn't shut the reporters down. When reporters asked about these questions before the weekend and over the weekend, he immediately shut them down. This is old news. I don't know why you're talking about it. What are you doing? But now not only did he answer the questions with detail, he gave Pam Bondi the green light to release everything. And then he also gave us some information that they're complete works of fiction written by Obama, Comey, and some other jerks. And one thing that really got me thinking about this, last night, Anderson Cooper, I'm not going to play the audio because I can't stand listening to these three jokers, but Anderson Cooper had two top Democrats on, and Rahm Emanuel and James Carville. And you may say, they're not big Democrats. No, they're big bosses at the upper level of the DNC. They're super delegates at the Democrat convention, and they're behind-the-scenes puppet masters. And this entire segment on Anderson Cooper, both Rahm Emanuel and James Carville, all of a sudden, they don't want the Epstein files released by Pam Bondi. They were saying that they're a distraction. We need to be talking about alligator Alcatraz. We need to be talking about the big, beautiful bill. We need to talk about the issues, not this distraction. And Anderson Cooper didn't even challenge them on that. Pretty long segment. They also talked a little bit about Obama, but it was mostly about this is a distraction. So now all of a sudden, CNN, two of the top Democrat power brokers, don't want it released after Trump twice said yesterday to Pam Bondi she can release it if she wants. So what's happening here? Well, what's happening is we're about to get a release. And the reason we're getting the release, it very well may be because of the public outrage from so many MAGA people. That very well may be it. And I know so many of these influencers are going to start doing victory laps and take credit for doing this. They'll take credit while giving you the credit. This is happening because of you, but what they're really saying is because of me. And that may be a factor, and it may be the reason. But regardless of this, it's when it is, we are going to get things coming out. And then, the night before last, Lara Trump said release them as well, right? She did an interview the other day. I can't remember who it was. Was it Benny John? I can't remember who interviewed Lara Trump the other day, but she said release them. And she's obviously a Trump insider. Her last name is Trump, and she's right there. So these are definitely coming out. You guys can chill out. But I've told you this for months and months. Be prepared to be disappointed. It'll be very interesting with President Trump talking about how these are works of fiction. So we're going to get some of that. There's no question about it. But you're not going to get what you're thinking. And what I mean by that is this. When Epstein's files and records and videos and audio, whatever it is he had, photographs, who knows what this guy had. He was a complete perv, so he probably had as many records as he could. like these sociopaths, they like to relive the experience through video and photos and such. Whatever he had was taken by the different agencies to use as blackmail material against the people in them, if they're important people. So those are in some deep, deep state vault somewhere. I expect that the files we get are going to be very much like the JFK files. The JFK file, I cannot remember a time in my life when people were not asking for all the JFK files to be released. And when they came out, I was expecting some of the JFK assassination history buffs, and there's a lot of people that are very much involved in following everything there is about the Kennedy assassination. I expected them to go through those files and find at least one thing that was interesting. We found and heard not a thing. Not a thing. And we probably never will. And these files will probably be similar to that. And that may cause more conspiracy. I don't know. But be prepared to be disappointed. But there has been a change. And we know that because of Rahm Emanuel and James Carville, all of a sudden the Democrats don't want them released. Now they may not want them released because there's nothing there to hold over Trump. They want to keep this thing going that Trump's on the list, which we know he's not, for all the reasons everybody has said 1,000 times in the last week. But they want to keep that going. And once everything's released, they won't be able to keep that false narrative going. And them saying, oh, we don't care about this stuff, it's a distraction all of a sudden, means that, well, they know it's over. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right, you missed your chance, and it's time for a break anyway. Right before the show open played, there was this huge bang of thunder. I mean, it was loud. I was expecting the power to get knocked out from it. We are in hurricane season, people. We are in rainy season. And if you're in the state of Florida, you want to write down Tom Laporta's cell phone number, which I'm going to give you in just a moment. Tom Laporta, he's a good MAGA guy who will never sell you a roof you do not need. He works on residential roofs as well as commercial and municipal roofs. He's even done church roofs here in the state of Florida. He covers both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between, and works with every roofing material there is. Also, Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing can handle the job of any size. So whether it's a single-family home or a single office building or an HOA that has over 300 units, he can handle it. And I'll tell you another thing, too. He is incredible at dealing personally with homeowners associations. He could probably have a business just doing this. Homeowners associations, 80% of Floridians live in a community that's in an HOA. Isn't that crazy? And we all hate the HOA. Nobody likes the HOA except those monsters that are on the board. And because they're abusive and they're nasty. And if you speak up, the next thing you know, your life's miserable for the rest of the time you live there. They make life hard. They're terrible people that we're afraid of. But Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing, he has a way of dealing and negotiating and working things out with homeowners associations that is amazing. He's like the Jerry Spence or the Alan Dershowitz, or I'll use some other ones. He's kind of like the OJ Dream Team. He's like the dream team of dealing with your HOA, and can help you get the job approved and done right. Give him a call. This number rings directly to his cell phone. Now, I'm going to give you his website, LaportaRoofing.com, and there's a number at LaportaRoofing.com. That's the office number, not Tom Laporta's cell phone. So I'm going to give you his cell phone. I want you to think about this. You've got the cell phone number of the owner of the company that's going to either repair or replace the roof on your home, your office, or whatever it is. That's an amazing thing to do. That really is, to have that number where you can contact him now. You can contact him during the job, after the job, at any point, and that's just a great thing to be able to have, is the cell phone number of the owner of the company. Here's the number, 954-604-4602, 954-604-4602. We'll be right back. If you're a Medicare recipient or about to turn 65, listen up. I want to talk to you about Medicare. Medicare, it's confusing. That's done on purpose, right? You go online, what do you find? More confusion. You know, a lot of people, they try to go it alone, or they deal with someone who doesn't really know what they're talking about, and what happens? It ends up costing them thousands of dollars sometimes each year. And also, they find out maybe their doctors or the medications, they might not be covered either. That's where Chapter comes in. You know, Chapter is the only national Medicare advisor that compares all of the over 24,000 plans out there for you. They'll find the one that's right for you and your budget. And no matter where you are in the United States, Chapter can help. You're going to get answers, you're going to get them fast, and you're going to get them for free. So whether you're on Medicare right now or turning 65 soon, give Chapter a call. 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. The number's also in the description of the episode. You're going to talk to a real person. They're going to walk you through everything step by step. No gimmicks, just real help. Because the right plan, it can save you thousands. Again, the number 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. Get your Medicare questions answered free. 805-754-3033. Your health and your wallet will thank you. Now, I want to tell you guys, if you want to get a good night's sleep, get yourself a 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. You know, you can get a 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper with my promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com for 30% off. I've been sleeping on my MyPillow mattress topper, as has my wife next to me, for years. I get about 4 hours of sleep a night, between 4 and 5 hours, depending on what night of the week. You know, what the MyPillow mattress topper does, it turns your entire bed into a big MyPillow. So that 4 to 5 hours of sleep I get every night is deep, well-rested sleep because of that mattress topper. You know, it comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee, a 10-year warranty. It's machine washable and dryable, and it will change your life, let me tell you. You know, when I was a kid growing up, and I know a lot of you are old enough to remember this, you used to be able to flip mattresses. Remember that? Remember the days when you could flip a mattress? You'd have a mattress, and then, you know, for whatever reason, it got lumpy, lopsided or something, and you'd flip it over, and then it was like having a brand new mattress. Well, years ago, the mattress companies, they got real wise to that. You can't flip mattresses anymore. It's like a box spring underneath, right? So if you've got, and mattresses are expensive. If you have a lumpy, bumpy mattress, a lopsided mattress, or think you need a new mattress, go to MyPillow.com. Get your 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. It comes in every mattress size there is. Use my promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, and get 30% off. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. All right, we'll be back in a few seconds. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. Callers on hold, stand by. Don't forget, guys, I'm going to see you all Saturday morning at 10 a.m. at Attorney Barry Siegel's Medicaid seminar in Boca. And you may not have heard me talking about it too much. Barry called me Friday after the show and told me that it is, even though it's free, it's filled up. I shouldn't say, I guess not sold out because it's a free event, but it's filled up. And I want to thank everybody for being there. I will see you there Saturday morning at 10 a.m. I even got a haircut yesterday because of it. I wouldn't have gotten my haircut yesterday. I would have waited a couple more weeks. But I got a haircut for you guys, so I look forward to seeing you all. All right, let's go to the phones, 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
How you doing, brother? My name is Leo. I'm from Florida.
All right, Leo.
All right, here's some things I wanted to touch on. So, absolutely, there's a shadow government, the cabal. They are the puppeteers of all the bad in the world, the one thing I wanted to bring the attention to is when Trump spoke at the Bitcoin conference, he made a couple of major statements. And as far as white hats go, Bitcoin is connected to it all around. And I'll start with a tweet from 2015 from General Michael Flynn. I'm assuming people on the air know who General Michael Flynn is, but in 2016, he tweeted, Bitcoin is our evolutionary destiny. Bitcoin was priced at approximately.
All right, we're not here. We're not talking about Bitcoin today. But if you have something relevant to what I'm discussing,
it's part of this alliance. It's part of this alliance
well,
because Trump created the Space Force.
What President?
Excuse me, let me just finish.
What do you mean here? What does the Space Force have? What did Trump create?
The sixth branch of the military. There's the Navy, the Marines,
the
the
Space
Army,
Force,
the Coast Guard, National Guard.
and your point. Get to the end
The Space
part.
Force majors published books specifically about Bitcoin being a cyber weapon.
Okay,
So,
all right. I'm going to move on. I'm not really interested in that. You're on the air. What's your name? Open phones is on Friday. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning.
Oh,
How
Richie.
you doing this morning?
All right, Richie.
I'm awake.
Okay.
All right, here's the deal. I owe President Trump and Mandy, and it's not flip-flopping. I'll explain myself. An apology for this whole thing. I seen Patrick Bet-David yesterday. He had an actual list of what President Trump ran on. You know, President Trump did not run on this Epstein garbage. President Trump, that's why his reaction was, are we still talking about this guy? He ran, in other words, the MAGA wanted to know what went on. He said, well, that wasn't his priorities at all. The whole time it wasn't his priorities, but the press and the Democratic Party made us think that was what that they kept it alive. Their lies kept it alive, basically. Mm-hmm. They influenced people like me. They influenced Megyn Kelly. They influenced all of these. Charlie Kirk. All of them were influenced because this was not a priority of President Trump's. President Trump's, well, if he actually said on Fox News, I'll tell
Okay.
I'll let things,
all right. So
so
you did your apology. So now we got new stuff. President Trump has said two things. He said that they're works of fiction written by Obama, Comey, and other liberal jerks, and he said Pam Bondi can release everything if she wants. So
yeah, he's 100% right on that, and you're right, by the way. So I'll give you credit too, because all along you said let it play out, trust Trump, and I jumped the gun. And now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, I really did jump the gun along with a lot of other people. Even the fact that last night the Democrats voted, they came out, and the news went along with it, that the Republicans don't want any of this to come out, and that wasn't what that vote was all about. Mm-hmm. I mean, they lied. So the whole, and then again, you said that they're falling apart. They have nothing. The Democrats are in real trouble. Well, think about this: the presidential candidate was going to be Mario Cuomo, not Mario, and now not Mario, and now New York's going to be run by a communist. That tells you how far the Democrats. They're in real trouble, and all they have is the lies of the press, and they keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And it's really ridiculous.
Listen, you're saying a lot of words, but not really making any points. But I'll tell you this, okay? You've always got to trust in Trump on these things because he knows more about these things than you and I will ever know, and you can always trust him to do the right thing. He's just but he's very good at manipulating people on the other side.
That's true.
And there's a bit of a manipulation going on now. Now the Democrats are afraid that it's going to get released. They didn't think it was going to get released. Now that he said release it, now all of a sudden they don't want it to be released, right? So
I also have a criticism of Mark Levin.
Oh.
I mean, not for nothing. Mark Levin, I listen to all the time. Mark Levin is attacking MAGA, and he says he's the real MAGA. And I don't think it's time that we should be divided. We should not be divided at this time.
I'm not a fan of Mark Levin. He was a big never Trumper in the first campaign. I don't trust him. He's in love with him. I mean, listen, calling himself the Great One, give me a freaking break, right? The Great One, and I've never been a fan of his since he was a never Trumper in the first campaign. I don't trust him. And
You know what
he's
doing now,
very
Brian?
he's very snooty and thinks he's smarter and better than everyone else. And I just don't trust him. What's he doing now?
He said that he wasn't invited to this turning point. He hasn't been invited the last couple of years, which he said that doesn't really bother me. But all these influencers, do you know how many people I reach with my radio stations
Oh.
so in other words, he's knocking all the influencers.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that's not on basic national radio or television, which is a lot of podcasters, he's attacking all of them, which is wrong.
This is my opinion on Mark Levin. I think, what happened, he is so in love with himself. And anybody that's worked in broadcasting knows people like this. There are people, this sounds so bizarre, and when I tell people this, sometimes they think I'm nuts. There are some people that become sexually aroused at the sound of their own voice in their headphones when they're on the air. And that is not an exaggeration. They love to hear themselves talk.
That's true.
A big one, Neil Bortz in Atlanta, they take these dramatic pauses, and the pauses are so that you and the audience can ponder all the brilliance and wisdom that they uttered into the microphone. And what happens to a lot of people, and this is where Mark Levin is now, because his ego has just gotten out of control. That's right, I said it, he believes, like Glenn Beck used to believe before he destroyed himself by being a never-Trumper, he believes that he's almost like a cult leader. He doesn't think of himself, but that he has the ability to influence the minds of people. And let me tell you something. People that listen to this type of program, like mine or Steve Kane Show, my YouTube channel, or Mark Levin, or any of these people, you guys are so smart and so well informed. You know everything that's going on. And I know you may enjoy the show. You may learn something from some of us sometimes. But we're not out there making you support this or not support that. And what's happened with Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro lately, they're both in their minds, and maybe there's something somewhat official about this, but they view themselves as almost Israeli ambassadors. And Mark Levin,
I was going to tell you that.
Yeah, Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro both of them believe they are responsible for convincing President Trump to bomb the nuclear facility. And they are just so in love with themselves since then. And they both believe, especially Ben Shapiro, that they're manipulating Donald Trump. I mean, they're both out of their minds.
Let me say, I think so too. But let me say this to you: I believe 100% what they're saying about Israel. Now, don't get me wrong.
No, I support Israel, but listen,
No, but
you can be a jerk and support Israel.
I also believe in dissent against Israel, where there are MAGA people that are not happy with the situation. Now, I don't call everyone that's against what's going on an anti-Semite. They might not be informed like I am or you are or anything, but they're not.
Well, I'll tell you, Candace Owens hates Jews. Okay, she hates Jews. She's the biggest anti-Semite around today. But Mark Levin, when I realized what was going on, I've told this story a while back before the bombing. Tim Pool, who those of you that don't know, he's a guy on YouTube who's bald, and he wears a winter cap like Michael Nesmith from the Monkees all the time to look like, make people think he's a hipster, but he's really covering up his bald spot. And I wear hats, but I'm not bald, okay? I have no balding spots or anything, thankfully. But anyway, he let something out of the bag, and this was before the bombing of Iran. He said that he was invited with other influencers that he would not name because it was a private event. And Netanyahu was there, and it was Israel, and with Netanyahu personally trying to convince these influencers to support Israel in their war in Gaza and against Iran. And I can only assume that if Tim Pool and some online influencers were invited to that Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro probably were at another level, okay? And they just feel that they're special people now that have been elevated and that they're manipulating. Ben Shapiro hates Trump. Don't believe anything he says. They both believe that they are responsible for taking out the nuclear reactor. And if you've noticed, Mark Levin's ego has gone has been amplified a lot since that event, in my opinion, from listening.
You know what amplified it a lot? President Trump invited them, and he made that clear to everybody that he's closer to Trump than all these other people. Him and his wife went to dinner, personal dinner with Trump.
Yeah.
And he says Trump loves my wife, and so nobody tells you I'm not close to Trump. I mean, this is like. So he's like bragging about this crap.
Yeah.
Who the hell tells the world I went to dinner with
insecure,
with the president every day?
pathetically insecure individuals. All right, appreciate the call. Now I want to tell you guys, rainy season, you want to have good tread on your tires, and Friendly Tire in Margate. Before I found Friendly Tire in Margate, I've been a customer there, 15 years or so, and you can get new tires out the door and on the road for as low as $70 a tire. That's amazing. New tires. And he has all the name brands and love. Michelin. I'm a Firestone guy. If you have run flats, I have run flats on one of my cars. Great deals on run flats. Just great deals. He has thousands of used tires in stock too. But I would recommend, if you're short on cash, save up for 2 new tires, and then save up again and get the new tires as low as $70 a tire out the door and on the road, because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire, mount the tire, or even dispose of your old tire. And he has to pay a guy to take away the old tires per tire. I'm not going to tell you how much it is, but it's not cheap. I was shocked. I thought that some rubber recycler took them for free. No. So yeah, he has great deals, great prices. But before I found Friendly Tire in Margate, I would drive on tires that I shouldn't have been driving on, especially during these rainy seasons. Not anymore, though, because there's no excuse. The prices are so low. Give Friendly Mike a call at Friendly Tire. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. He also does tire repairs, which other tire shops will not do. 954-977-9445. We'll be right back. All right, I got to listen to this soundbite. I was going to play this, but he might use profane. I got to listen to this first. I didn't listen to the whole thing.
They ask Jews all over the world to consider what this man, Benjamin Netanyahu, and his right-wing government is doing to the Jewish people all over the world. They are endangering not only the state of Israel, which I care deeply about and want to exist, but they are endangering the Jewish population all over the world. He is the most dangerous thing, not just since October 7th. It has been a deeply troubled situation. Yeah. Watch what is happening for the Jewish people to allow this to happen to children and civilians of all ages in Gaza, for whatever reason, is unconscionable and unthinkable. And I ask you Jews everywhere, all over the world, to spend some time alone and think, is this acceptable and sustainable? How could it be done to you and your ancestors, and you turn around and you do it to someone else? I ask Jews.
What a freaking lunatic, Mandy Patinkin. Okay. Actors should just shut up and act. Okay. I'm going to play it again on the air, but I wanted to make sure he didn't use any profanity. I didn't watch it till the end before. Hold on. He's a lunatic. Mandy Patinkin. But he's Jewish, isn't he? Let me look him up. Let me see here. Yeah, okay. What a lunatic. All right. We'll be back in a little more over a minute. Less than a minute. We'll be back. I guess that's his wife who's trying to calm him down. He's done 3 things that I like. 3 things Mandy Patinkin has done that I like. What do you think they are? I'll tell you when I get on the air. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. If you're on hold, hang in there. Mandy Patinkin has just lost his freaking mind. He was on stage somewhere talking about Israel and the war in Gaza. I'm going to play it for you in a moment. And he is a textbook example of how actors should shut up and act, right? Just a complete lunatic. He's done 3 things that I like. He played the alien in Alien Nation with James Caan, which is really a liberal movie about illegal immigration. But anyway, Alien Nation, the movie, not the TV series. He was the alien. Pretty good. I like the TV series as well, but he was in the movie. I like that show he was in, Homeland, which was really, really good, except that season in Europe. But other than that season in Europe, it was one of the great television shows of the last 10, 20 years. And then I do like Criminal Minds, although this season sucked, but Criminal Minds, which he was in, is pretty good. But no, The Princess Bride, I know some will say, well, he was in The Princess Bride. About a year ago, my wife and I said, let's watch The Princess Bride. We hadn't seen it, and it's with kids. And I've never seen it from beginning to end. I saw clips of it here and there. And if you go back and watch The Princess Bride now, it sucks. You won't like it. It's not that good. Maybe when we were kids, we liked it, but go back and watch it this weekend. Don't do it now. Don't do anything until after 9 a.m. today, but do it over the weekend. So here's Mandy Patinkin, and he's talking about Israel and the war in Gaza. Listen.
I ask Jews all over the world to consider what this man, Benjamin Netanyahu, and his right-wing government is doing to the Jewish people all over the world. They are endangering not only the state of Israel, which I care deeply about and want to exist, but they are endangering the Jewish population all over the world. He is the most dangerous thing, not just since October 7th. It has been a deeply troubled situation. Yeah. Watch what is happening for the Jewish people to allow this to happen to children and civilians of all ages in Gaza, for whatever reason, is unconscionable and unthinkable. And I ask you Jews everywhere all over the world to spend some time alone and think, is this acceptable and sustainable? How could it be done to you and your ancestors, and you turn around and you do it to someone else?
Okay, now at the end, somebody puts their hand on his shoulder. Can't see, I guess it's his wife. Says, can you stop embarrassing us, Mandy? Oh, my goodness. This is how the Holocaust happened. I never really paid too much attention to Mandy Patinkin. During the break, I looked up his bio. It says he was raised as a conservative Jew and went to religious school as a kid. But it's interesting, raised. Does that mean he's no longer a practicing Jew? I don't know. But I do know this, that, Gaza used to be part of Israel. And they made an agreement, and they gave it to the Palestinians. And there was a lot of opposition to it. The left, of course, were in favor of it. The conservatives around the world, including Israel, were against it. And all those against it said that what would happen is what happened on October 7th. They said they're going to use Gaza. It's almost like having an aircraft carrier of jihadis to attack Israel all the time. And Gaza, when it was part of Israel, was a really beautiful place. It was very nice. It was beautiful and high tech. And I remember the day that they handed it over, when the Palestinians came in, they started wrecking everything. It was total anarchy. But here we are. I can't remember what year that was, but all these years later, they've been doing it all along, but they did it hardcore on October 7th when they went into Israel, raped and murdered the women and the young men there and wives and everything else, and then took sex slaves and other hostages back into Gaza. I don't hear Mandy Patinkin talking about those who were raped and murdered at the music festival or taken back to Gaza as slaves, labor and sex slaves and hostages. I haven't heard Mandy Patinkin. He doesn't have any thing to say about what they've done to those people. But, you know, the thing about Israel, if you look at the Middle East, Israel is so tiny. When you see a whole map of the Middle East, you can't even hardly see Israel. Right? The other countries are so big, and out of all the countries, Israel has like the least amount of natural resources. All the big resources like oil are in the other countries. Why are they always harassing Israel? Because they don't want Jews to live. They want to complete the Holocaust. That's what's going on. It's the Jewish state. But the reason I played this is not so much to talk about Israel, to talk about what's going on in New York City. This Zohan, if the election were held today, he would win. We've got this idiot Governor Cuomo running as an independent. Mayor Adams is running as an independent. And this clown Curtis Sliwa is still running as a Republican in a hopeless race, when they should be united to stop Zohan from becoming the mayor of New York City, because liberals like Mandy Patinkin would vote for him. I was talking to a friend of mine. He's Jewish. And he was telling me that his niece is going to vote for Zohan. She's a Jew. She's going to vote for Zohan. I said, did you tell her this is how the Holocaust happened? He said she doesn't want to hear it. And we've got Mayor Adams, who looks like he's asleep when you see him on TV. Have you seen him? He was on Patrick Bet David, and I've seen him on some shows. He looks like he's asleep. And then you've got this lunatic, Governor Cuomo, who just lost to Zohan, right? So they're splitting the votes. They're splitting the independent vote. They're splitting the votes of reasonable people. And then you got Curtis Sliwa over there taking a few votes too. We're in big trouble. We're in huge trouble with this guy becoming the mayor of New York City. Look at what's happened in this country. Look at what's going on in Minnesota. Parts of Michigan. Did you see that video that was all over X yesterday of the Muslims in Michigan? You would have thought that was in Mecca or Medina. But it was Michigan, wasn't it? Was it Michigan? Yeah. And liberals out there, and I know there are many of you listening to me right now. Liberals are insane, and they have this superiority complex. They think they're smarter than everyone. They're not. They're stupid. Now, I want to tell you about Mike Lindell's 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. My wife and I have been sleeping on our MyPillow mattress topper for years. We love it. Basically, what it does, it turns your entire bed into a big MyPillow. It comes in every mattress size, by the way, no matter how small or how large. It comes in from twin all the way up to split king and California king, every size in between, including those sizes for RVs and truck drivers. We have them on all our beds. But, it comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee. Not that you're going to want to take advantage of that, but a 10-year warranty. It's amazing. It's machine washable and dryable. And the cover is made of that same material that the MyPillow 2.0 is. During these hot summer months, it keeps you cool and comfortable all night long through your whole body. But if you have a lumpy, bumpy mattress or a lopsided mattress, don't spend all that money on a new mattress. Get the MyPillow mattress topper. Don't just take my word for it. Listen to this. Gary and Phyllis said the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper totally rejuvenated our 12-year-old mattress. So go to MyPillow.com, use our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, get 30% off your MyPillow 3-inch mattress topper. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. All right, 1 hour down, 2 to go. If you're on hold, stand by. We got a lot more to cover, and I will go back to the phones. Our number is toll-free, no matter where you're listening, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Back after this. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. No doubt about it. And if you want to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. It's toll-free no matter where you are listening. Mandy Patinkin is a complete nut job. I mean, there's no one as insane as that guy. Okay. When we get back, I want to get into a little bit. You guys love Stephen Miller. Is Stephen Miller not the best? He is so good. I love Stephen Miller. If you love Stephen Miller, press 1 in the chat. Yeah. I mean, Stephen Miller and Tom Homan, I mean, they're like perfect. Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll be back in just about 2 minutes. And then I will go to the phones. So if you're on hold, hang in there. All right. Indeed. Yeah, look at all those ones. Yeah, I mean, everybody loves Stephen Miller. I mean, he's the best. He is the best. No doubt about it. Okay, what time are we coming back here? Okay. We'll be back shortly. And if you're on hold, hang in there. I'll go to the phones. I'll start going back to the calls when we get back. Welcome. Make sure you subscribe if you are new to the channel. You will love this channel, I promise you. And when I'm live streaming, I'm always taking live calls. I also host my podcast here live in the afternoons. You can call me on my podcast as well in the afternoons. I'll have a new podcast today. And I always take live calls when I'm live streaming in the studio. Tomorrow I'm going to be at the radio station. Less than a minute, we'll be back. Boy, oh boy. Mandy Patinkin is nuts. I mean, he's having like physical symptoms. He was about ready to collapse in hysterics. What a nut. Okay, stand by. Hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. I'm going to take a call, maybe 2 or 3 of people that have been holding since before the top of the hour. I've covered a lot, and I've got a lot more to get into, so stand by. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Mark from New York. How you doing today, Brian?
All right, Mark. What's up?
Hey, I agree with Mandy. Patinkin, that clip he played. Absolutely.
What are you agreeing with?
The children in Gaza. I mean, why is no one thinking about them?
The children in Gaza?
Are you? Yeah, he was saying like how the Jews are being portrayed.
Why are there? Okay, I'm glad you called. This is great. I hope you're not in New York City where you can vote for Zohan.
No.
Oh, thank the Lord that you're not able to vote in that election, because you would vote to surrender New York City. Why are there children in Gaza, do you think, that are getting bombed?
Because Hamas is using them as shield?
Correct. In fact, Israel opened up after the god-awful attack, okay, with the rapes and murders and hostages taken. They opened up Gaza and said, the borders, and said, anyone who wants out, get out. And the terrorists are using civilians as human shields. So what are they supposed to do, Israel?
I'm not really sure about it. Well,
oh, you're not sure?
Wait,
a minute ago you said you agree with Mandy Patinkin.
I do. But what I'm saying is, like, if there's a hostage situation in a bank, robber takes a hostage, the police aren't going to shoot the hostage just to get to the bank, the bank robber.
Uh-huh.
No one blames the person who got taken hostage.
Yeah.
But instead, we're bombing hospitals and schools, knowing that there's children there. Knowing that those children are going
first off,
to die,
we're not bombing.
Excuse
me. We're not bombing anyone. The United States isn't bombing anyone in Gaza. All right, let me ask you. Let me ask you this. Let me ask before I move on.
Yep.
Are you serious, or are you just playing around and pulling my leg? Are you just trolling me, pretending to support these stupid things, or are you serious? Just tell me if you're
supporting what. I have no problem with Jews or Israel.
Oh, well,
that's
nice.
With them
that's nice.
Killing children.
That's nice. You have no problem with Jews.
How is that nice?
Yeah. Well, it's nice. It's nice that you don't have problems with the Jews. I'm not okay with anyone dying.
But you're okay with them killing them as long as one or two Hamas people die.
First of all,
it's okay if a bunch of children die.
What happens, and this has happened to us in Iraq and Afghanistan and Vietnam, okay? What these cowards do, they come in, they attack a completely civilian target, the music festival. They raped and murdered women. They kidnapped women and took them as sex slaves. They murdered men and kidnapped men as hostages. I haven't heard you shed any tears for them in that unprovoked attack.
I've said on the air, I've said on your show before that was horrible. Those people should be held responsible.
Yeah,
Hamas is
but you're only telling me that when you're questioned. You're like a good liberal. You're always concerned about. You're like these liberals in this country. You may be one of them that are more concerned about the illegals than you are the people that they victimize in this country.
That's where I differ. Get them all out of here. If they want to come back legally, they can.
Okay.
I am not one of those. I'm not far left. You guys, every time I call you, assume I'm like, super far left. Wearing Biden shirts and hats.
You are far left. You don't realize it, but you are far left. You just don't realize it.
Really? What far left person wants to deport all the illegals?
A lot of times, there's two possibilities with you. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And this is one of the two possibilities. One, there's actually possibly three possibilities if come to think of it. Okay. And here's what they are. One, okay, you're just an all-around bigot. You don't like Jews. You don't like the Hispanics. That's a possibility. That's one possibility. Okay. Another possibility is, you're personally affected by illegals being here, so you just want them out, right? That's another possibility. There's a third possibility that you just take that position so you don't sound like some lunatic liberal and can sound like you've got some credibility. But none of them are really good reasons.
No, you're wrong on all accounts. First off, I'm not around any of those. Like in my town, we don't have many immigrants or illegals. I grew up in Los Angeles, so I have a lot of Hispanic friends. So that's also kind of weird. I mean, I served in the military with a lot of Hispanics, and at no point was I like, well, I don't want to share a foxhole with this guy.
Uh-huh.
You know, so those kind of go out the window. And
Yeah.
no, I'm not like pretending or putting on a show for anyone.
Okay.
Because honestly, I don't care what your opinion is of me.
You sure?
I'm just calling
Okay.
to say that the children do not deserve to die.
Okay.
And we keep think that if this war is on the internet. We
So
can see the idea of walking into peaceful mosques, throwing grenades and things like that.
Any civilian that has died in Gaza is because of the terrorist, not because of Israel.
Really? So when you watch a video of the IDF walking into a wedding where there are no they make no arrests and they just throw tear gas and just walk out laughing, that's because of the terrorists. They think there's terrorists in there. They're not killing them. They're just interrupting a wedding.
If you get into a car accident and your child's not buckled in and they're injured or lose their life, whose fault is that? Who do they blame?
Absolutely the parents.
That's correct. So if you were in Gaza with your kids, would you be there with your kids or would you get them out?
We don't know if there's a chance for them to get out.
Yeah, of course there's
the idea of
if they can't get out, who's stopping them from getting out? Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. We're going around in circles, but yeah, I mean, starting to fall apart there for him in the end. All right, now I think that my two favorite people that Trump has working for him right now is Tom Homan and Stephen Miller, right? I mean, I like them all, but Stephen Miller and Tom Homan are my favorites. All right, what about you guys? And what makes them, I think they're probably two of the MAGA favorites. If Trump came out on stage with Stephen Miller and Tom Homan, the crowd would just go nuts. And anytime I hear Tom Homan or Stephen Miller speaking, I stop whatever I'm doing and listen. Don't you? I mean, because whatever they're going to say is good and you agree with it. And Stephen Miller, he was on Fox yesterday. Listen to this. He's so right on the money. He was on with Will Kane. This is Will Kane on Fox. And I like Will Kane a lot better than that Cavuto, right? Oh, man. Does anyone miss Neil Cavuto on Fox? Heck no. The only one that probably misses him is himself. Anyway, here's Stephen Miller on with Will Kane yesterday, telling it like it is, as always.
Nobody has the right to invade our country, fill up our emergency rooms, take our health care, take our jobs, take our tax dollars, live an entire life on free welfare. Every illegal alien family that Joe Biden and his party imported into this country that has 5 kids, 6 kids, 7 kids, who do you think is paying for their health care? Who do you think is paying for their education? Who do you think is paying for their food, their shelter, their housing, all of it? The working and middle class of this country. No.
Okay. Yeah. And, this is in response to all these liberals that are talking about alligator Alcatraz. And Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I think she's all excited. People are talking about her again. I forgot about Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and she's a local South Florida congressperson. Who does her hair, by the way? I don't know too much about ladies' hair, but that's something, She needs to find a new hairdresser, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. But she's talking about the conditions in the jail. In particular, she was talking about the jail toilets. Even though Alligator Alcatraz is technically and somewhat officially a Florida state detention center, it's not a prison, it's a detention center. It is mandated to go by federal standards because of the illegals that are there to be deported right off of those great runways they have there. It was built in a perfect spot. So the facilities that they have in these, I don't know if you can call them cells, but whatever you want to call them, are much more upscale than the jails that are just down the street. Alligator Alcatraz is not the only jail in that area. Not too far from there, they have there's a I think is it called the Chrome Detention Center? I believe is what it's called. The Chrome Detention Center, which is a county jail in Miami-Dade County, is not too far from there. I had to drive by the road to get there when I went to Alligator Alcatraz a few weeks ago. and go online and look at the conditions in the Chrome Detention Center, which is just down the street from Alligator Alcatraz, and then go and look at Alligator Alcatraz. If you were being held in detention or jail, where would you rather be? The county jail, the Chrome Detention Center, or Alligator Alcatraz? And look at the toilets they have in the cells at the Chrome Detention Center, and then compare them. I wish people in the media would do this, because that jail down there is considered to be one of the worst county jails in all of Florida, so I've heard. And they've got very good conditions. But it's another example of the left always taking the sides of the bad guys. Now, I want to talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas, who's going to be in studio with me tomorrow. I'm going to be a guest on his radio show. And when that airs, I'll let you guys know so you can tune into it. He's got a great show. And I'm going to be, I bet this will be, I think, my third time on Jupiter Joe's radio show. It airs right here on True Oldies. It's on all the time. And I'll get you the time when I'm going to be on, and you can tune in. But Jupiter Joe Thomas, it's absolutely amazing. You know, with annuities, your nest egg is never at risk. No matter what happens in the economy, your money is safe. And you're guaranteed an income stream for the rest of your life. Pretty good deal, isn't it? Absolutely. And Joe Thomas offers free phone consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you are located. Take advantage of this. Set it up. Joe will tell you how to protect your money from stock market losses. Tell you how you're going to stop losing your hard-earned money. And, of course, how you can generate income while you're retired for the rest of your life, and much more. And this free phone consultation, which you can take advantage of no matter where you're located, I want you to understand the value of this. Listen to this. Joe Thomas has been in the retirement planning business for over 30 years, and he's a 5-time qualifying member of the $1 Million Roundtable, which is achieved by less than 1% of all the financial advisors in the world. So he's a top man in the industry, and he's offering you a free phone consultation. And after that consultation, he's going to put together a custom portfolio based on you and your situation, your needs, your goals, one that is unique to you. Give him a call, 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. If you missed the number, just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, stand by. Now, I'm going to consider Stephen Miller and Tom Homan as one person, okay, just for the discussion. Is there anyone, other than Trump, of course, is there anyone Trump has hired in this second term that you like better than Stephen Miller and Tom Homan? Because those two are my favorites, and they're pretty equal. So is there any, I can't think of anyone that I like better. Can you? I can't think of anyone. If you're on hold, hang in there. Test 1 2, test 1 2. Doing a mic check. Test 1. There we go. Okay. If you're on hold, stand by. I will go back to the calls. No, I'm talking about better than. Better than. I can't think of anyone better than. I'm not asking to list people you like. Those are my two favorites. So, who do you like better than? That's the question. Right? That's a tough one. We'll be back in just over a minute. All right. Less than a minute, we'll be back. No, not who you like. Can you think of anyone you like better than Homan or Stephen Miller? I can't think of anyone better, better than. Bannon doesn't work for Trump. Someone that's on his staff in the second term. All right, stand by. We're coming back. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Chris from Chicago.
Hey, Chris.
How you doing? Another thing, like about the Palestinians, they have restrictions on who can, enter and exit their country, like due to Israel and Egypt, due to the conflict. So they can't leave. They are trapped. And they are trapped.
No, Israel opened up the borders and said anybody who wanted to leave could, and they.
When was that? Because according
in the early days, in the early days of the war, before all the major bombings started.
So as of October 7th, Israel and Egypt imposed strict restrictions on who can enter and exit the Gaza.
They said that any civilians who wanted to leave could, and then a lot of them are being held hostage by their own people.
Well, I understand. Okay, I understand, but according to NPR and Fox, that's
NPR are liberal, anti-Semitic communist. That's why their funding's getting cut off.
It's Fox too. Okay, that's another source that I have. So
I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Okay, and another thing, the Epstein files that Trump say now that was written by all Democrats. Trump had 4 years to review those files when he was in office. Okay. And he did campaign on it, because when he had an interview with Fox, he said he will release those files.
Okay.
He did. He
was a little busy. If you remember, there was an international pandemic that took up the last year or so of his first term.
That's right. So he had a good 3 years to review those files. Okay. So during that time, like I said, he campaigned on it, and he doubled down on it when he got in office.
Well, listen, he said that Pam Bondi can release them all. He said twice yesterday she can release them all, so don't be upset.
But you
they're coming.
He's trying to control the narrative that they are now fraudulent. See, he's throwing it out there, just like the soldier, just like you marching in line, and you releasing the propaganda saying, hey, they're phony now. It was all written by Democrats.
I got a question for you. I'm curious about this. You're not going to want to talk about this, but I don't care. I'm going to ask anyway. Why does Black Lives Matter, when they were around, why did they never really focus on Chicago? And do Black lives in Chicago not matter to Black Lives Matter? I've seen them all over the country, but not Chicago.
Well, right now, Black Lives Matter has a lot of programs. That's on the streets. They got a lot of programs that's on the streets that's helping inner city kids. Yeah. Right now, they got a program in my neighborhood that's educating kids on getting their scores up, helping them on.
Why do you think my neighborhood isn't getting shot up like these neighborhoods in Chicago does all the time?
Because like I told you before, just like Jacksonville, Florida, okay? Per capita, Florida has a bigger, more murder rate than Illinois. Okay,
I'm not asking you about statistics. Why do you think my neighborhood is not having shootouts all the time where people are getting killed?
What's the average? What's your income? What's the annual income in your neighborhood?
I'm not going to tell you what my income is. You know, what do you want, statistics?
I'm
going to answer. I asked you questions and you give me more questions. Listen, here's the reason. I want to give you the reason. The reason that Chicago gets shot up and my neighborhood doesn't is because my neighborhood wouldn't put up with it. If we had one incident, the whole neighborhood would be up in arms turning the person in. In Chicago, people have guns illegally. Nobody turns them in. You know, Chicago has like some of the strictest gun control legislation in all of the United States. People in Chicago know where the guns are and who has them, but they don't turn people in.
Where these guns come from, Craig?
I don't know, gun stores and stuff. When you buy them legally,
they come from neighboring states that have
neighboring
gun laws
states.
That's not as restrictive as Chicago. Yeah, like
so
Indiana.
it's not the it's not the peoples of Chicago's fault. The gangbangers.
No, it is. It's their fault because they're buying. It's their fault. I'll never blame a gun. It's the people.
You never blame a gun.
Right now,
the guns are there because there's a demand for the guns by people that illegally possess them in your city.
People possess illegal guns. This is a United States problem, dude. Come on, man.
No, Chicago has like
more people get killed in Florida than Chicago. What are you talking
there's
about?
More people. Yeah, but there's more people in Florida than Chicago.
Okay, but
we're a big state. There's 25 million people in Florida.
The point I'm trying to make is it's not only a Chicago problem. Okay, this is a country problem.
But you're in Chicago.
People like you.
You're in Chicago.
But the issue is people like you.
What does
sit
that?
Here and blame this state. Oh, look at the blue state. Look at the red state. Per capita. Is
okay, let me give you an example.
Far.
Let me give you an example. Listeners make fun of me about this, even still today. But a few years ago, I was sitting in my living room. It was in the middle of the day, and I could see out of my window, and two kids stole a bicycle from the kid's house across the street. I called 911. I called 911. Okay, and they caught him. 5 police cars showed up and got the kids that stole the bike. That's what we have in my name, and people may say, "Oh my goodness, Brian, that's crazy. You calling the police?" And then because we don't tolerate crime in my neighborhood. You not only tolerate it, you're sitting here making excises for all the crimes in your city. Yeah. Why are the guns here? Why are the guns here? And all this stuff.
I live in reality, okay? I call the police all the time. I go to work just like, you at work, I go to work. I got kids too. I want the best for my kids. I want the best education. I don't allow nothing in my neighborhood. I don't allow nothing in my community. I call my alderman. I call my local politicians. I complain all the time. That's what I do.
Why would you live with your kids in such a dangerous city? I mean, why don't you move to a safe city with your kids?
No, I don't live. No, once again, this is where I was born and raised. This is how I make my money. Okay, this is what I do. Okay, my career is here in Chicago. This is what I do.
Okay.
Okay, I just can't up and just move around. And
sure
do
you
what
can.
I want to do. So
sure you can.
That's why. No. My career don't allow for that to happen. Okay.
What do you do for a living? What do you do for a living?
Hey, that's none of your business right now. But what I'm saying is, what I'm telling you is
none of my business.
Okay?
I'm not asking where you work. I just asked what your profession is.
Well, my profession is I work for the railroad, but I do a certain particular job where I can't just up and leave. Okay. So, like I'm telling you, I like where I work at. I enjoy.
But I'll tell you what, if I was living in a city where people were getting shot and I couldn't leave, I'd send my family to live somewhere else. Like the British during the bombings in London, they sent their kids to live in the country. Hey, listen, appreciate the call. If you're on hold, stand by. We're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show. If you're on hold, don't go anywhere. Okay, we'll be back right after this. Now, I want to tell you guys, if you want to get a good night's sleep, get yourself a 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. You can get a 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper with my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, at mypillow.com for 30% off. I've been sleeping on my Pillow mattress topper, as has my wife next to me, for years. I get about 4 hours of sleep a night, between 4 and 5 hours, depending on what night of the week. You know, what the MyPillow mattress topper does, it turns your entire bed into a big MyPillow. So that 4 to 5 hours of sleep I get every night is deep, well-rested sleep because of that mattress topper. You know, it comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee, a 10-year warranty. It's machine washable and dryable, and it will change your life, let me tell you. You know, when I was a kid growing up, and I know a lot of you are old enough to remember this, you used to be able to flip mattresses. Remember that? Remember the days when you could flip a mattress? You'd have a mattress, and then, you know, for whatever reason, it got lumpy, lopsided or something, and you'd flip it over, and then it was like having a brand new mattress. Well, years ago, the mattress companies, they got real wise to that. You can't flip mattresses anymore. It's like a box spring underneath, right? So if you've got, and mattresses are expensive. If you have a lumpy, bumpy mattress, a lopsided mattress, or think you need a new mattress, go to MyPillow.com. Get your 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. It comes in every mattress size there is. Use my promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, and get 30% off. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, KANE. All right, we'll be back shortly, guys. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to go back to the phones. If you're new, this is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe. And if you'd like to call in, the toll-free number is pinned in the live chat. You know, the poor guy from Chicago. I mean, think about it. If you lived in a city like Chicago where it was so dangerous, what would you do? You'd get out. Or, you know, you'd call the police all the time. You'd rat people out. You know, if they wanted to end the gun violence in Chicago, what the Democrats would do is offer a big reward when you call in a number, like a $5,000 reward every time they have an arrest of somebody who's in the illegal possession of a gun. But the people of Chicago cover for all the criminals in Chicago. That's why it's allowed to continue by the people that live there. I mean, my goodness, I'm calling the cops on people that steal bicycles. We don't tolerate any crime in my neighborhood. I know it seems ridiculous, but, you know, I couldn't believe 5 police cars responded, but they did. Oh, my goodness. That's right. It's our bottom of the hour break. The radio station. We'll be back in about 30 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. We'll go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right. You missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, it's Renee from Hollywood.
Hey, Renee.
Yeah, so listen, your name is Lion Brian the Bigot, and I'd like you to do me a favor. Can you repeat after me?
No. No, I'm not going to repeat anything after you.
Well, okay, well, try this for exercise, okay? Try saying person's name correctly.
Whose name am I saying wrong?
Huh?
Whose name am I saying incorrectly?
The mayor.
The mayor? What mayor?
Zoran Mondani.
That's not the mayor. He's not the mayor of anything.
He will be.
Not the mayor now.
Practice saying his name.
What are you going to do when you're calling me and in the background I'm hearing the Muslim call to prayer. You're gonna enjoy that every 5 times a day?
Subject. Try to say his name right.
Zohan.
I won't call you Brienne.
Zohan.
I'll try not to say your name, Brienne.
Zohan.
No, it's Zoran.
Like I said, Zohan.
The H is silent.
You know,
stupid.
everything that's going on, you're concerned about that?
No, try to say his name right. You didn't say Kamala Harris's name right either.
Kamala? Well, we don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about how to pronounce her name anymore, do we?
Her name is Kamala, Brienne.
All right, take care. Take care. Oh, my goodness. No content. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian.
Yeah. What's up?
Hi. Yeah. I just wanted to talk about Alcatraz for a second.
Alligator Alcatraz. Yes.
Yeah. And you know what? Those people who were there, I don't think back in their countries they had any air conditioning going on.
Some of them probably didn't even have toilets in the house.
Exactly. And I would rather be in a fenced area where some fresh air can come through as opposed to being in a jail with brick walls around me.
You know, I was talking about this a couple weeks back when this first came up. Central air conditioning is new to Florida. People don't realize it now, but you know, my mother's house that she lives in, my mother bought this house like in the early mid 80s, but the house was built like around 1950. It's in Fort Lauderdale. When we moved into that house, we didn't have central air conditioning because they didn't make houses with central air conditioning. I was in shock when I first moved to Florida in elementary school, 5th grade. We didn't have air conditioning in our classrooms. They just would open up the jalousie windows, unwind the windows. We didn't have air conditioning in our schoolrooms. Didn't have heat either because they said, it's not cold enough for heat. We didn't have air conditioning in the public schools. Nobody complained.
I was there. The same with me. South Miami Elementary, South Miami Junior High.
Yeah.
There was no air conditioning.
Were there any, and I'll tell you, there were no Congress people outside complaining that we didn't have AC, right? No, hold on. There we go. You know, we didn't have any Congress people saying, wait, these kids don't have air. And you know what? We didn't have air conditioning on our school buses either.
That's correct. That's correct.
Oh, remember that? We just put the windows down.
That's right. And actually, in a lot of, I lived in Georgia for a while, and the school buses there had no air either.
Oh, my God. I bet they do now.
Windows up if it was cold.
Exactly.
And windows down if it was. And for them to be causing all of this ruckus about these people, well, right now they're living large as opposed to where they came from when it comes to the air conditioned situation and, you know, running water and toilet systems. They probably don't know how to use a toilet, and that's why.
Well, I don't know about that. I think everybody knows how to use a toilet, but all right. Hey, appreciate the call. She was doing good for a minute. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Bart. I'm calling from Texas.
All right, Texas.
Oh yeah, I actually talked to you the other day.
Okay.
And you made a certain comment to me that it kind of bothered me a little bit, and other people make this comment too.
I don't remember. I don't remember the call.
You said, well, if you don't vote, you say, well, if you don't vote, you don't have a right to an opinion. Do you still stand behind that?
I don't know if I said that exactly correct. I don't think that is. I don't remember the conversation or your call, but I don't think I would have said that. If I did, it's not that I was mistaken. I just didn't clarify. I get, listen, I understand we have people in this audience. You may be one who's liberally impaired. And sometimes we have to, get out the crayons and the fat pencils and dumb the show down a little bit for the liberally impaired people. We haven't talked long enough for me to know. But what I'm saying, what I would say is this: if you don't vote, you're not participating in the process. So why are you griping? If you want to fix something, at least vote. By the way, what's your ethnicity?
I'm white.
You're white. Think about how many people struggled to vote, right? People sacrificed their lives for the right to vote. The whole American Revolution was so that they could have the right to vote in their own matters. And when people have fought and literally died for that right, who are you to gripe and complain about the way things are if you don't vote, right? I mean, come on.
Well, listen, voting works. Look at every time we vote for either one of these presidents, there's certain things that are going to happen regardless. We're going to go trillions more in debt, no matter what they say.
Listen, you're calling from Texas. President Trump has completely shut down the illegal crossings in the Texas from the southern. Your state, the state of Texas, was under attack, being invaded 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the last 4 years. He stopped that invasion of Texas.
I know, but but that's what I'm saying. It's not like I don't agree with some stuff he's doing.
Oh, well, that's nice.
But there's a common denominator with all the presidents that come in. They all say they're going to fix the economy, do this and that, and every single time one of them comes in, the one thing they always do is bring us trillions more into debt.
I don't know. Listen, I don't worry about.
You do know.
Oh, hold on. Hold on a second. Do you know what debt and budget I worry about? What do you think?
For 37.
Hold on a second. What budget? Excuse me. We, like you're with us. What budget and what debt do you think I'm worried about and I concern myself with? What do you think?
Talking about?
You talked about no. You talked about the debt and budgeting. My question is, I worry about the debt. I worry about the budget. What debt and budget do you think I worry about?
What are you trying to get to? There's only one debt and budget that's going to bring.
No, I worry about my budget, my debt, the budget and the debt of my family. And President Trump, who just got the big beautiful bill passed, put a whole bunch of money in my pocket.
Dude,
in fact,
crazy as hell.
I'm not crazy.
Like
there we go. All right, first dump of the day. The first dump of the day. That's what happens. When you're talking, one thing I learned a long time ago, when you're talking to a crazy person, which he was and is, when you confront an insane person with their craziness, they lose it. They snap. And that's what happened with him. In fact, let me pull this up. I'll probably have to do this after the break. I'll have to do this after the break. I have to find this. I was looking over something the White House released just yesterday, but the White House released yesterday. I'm going to go through this after the next break. I'll go through my state of Florida and Texas because where that lunatic was at. I put this on X. They put this application online yesterday. The White House. You can see, you click on your state and it shows how much people are saving because of President Trump. I'm going to go through some of that when we get back. But first, I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Oh, man. I'm so excited about this appearance at Attorney Barry Siegel's office on Saturday, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all there. It is full up. So those of you that called and said you're coming, it is full. And I'm going to see you all there. And this is my first appearance since my incredible weight loss, and I'm very excited. And I want to ask everyone to please delete all those Inauguration Day photos of me at Wings Plus. I don't look like that anymore, and those photos are embarrassing. I've lost all this weight since then. That Inauguration Day, I started Coastal Weight Loss Secret the Monday after that. And there's just been a dramatic change in my whole appearance, my face, my body, everything. And I feel great, too. I have more energy because, well, you lose weight. You have more energy. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. It works. No exercise. No prescription medications like Ozempic. And I ate foods I would normally eat. Now I'm in the maintaining phase. I haven't gained back a pound. Have not gained a single pound back. Isn't that something? And the reason I didn't gain any weight back is because the way that Coastal Weight Loss Secret operates for you to lose weight, it's not that one of those huge, incredibly insane lifestyle changes like exercising 5 days a week or something. If I had to do that, I'd be destined to fail. Now, if I would have exercised, I would have lost the weight faster, but I lost about a pound a day. That sounds pretty good to me, doesn't it? Absolutely. Now, no matter where you're located, they can help you. What I mean by that is, in the age of telemedicine, no matter where you are in the United States, Coastal Weight Loss Secret can help. Give them a call, 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel, all right? And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. We'll be right back. When we get back, I'll go through this. Like this, I put like here. I'm gonna you click on Florida. Look at this. It tells you real wage increase. I'm gonna do Texas first, since that idiot called from Texas. You just click on your state, and it tells you. So I'll do that for Texas and Florida, and the savings are greater based on some states and less in some states, but still a lot. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah. So I'll go over that a little bit when we get back. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in just a little bit of time. Welcome. If you're new, this is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe, all right? We'll be back in about 2 minutes. Lifestyle changes, like exercise. I'm just doing a mic check. A little more than a minute. We'll be back. That caller thinks he's the intellectual superior of the two, using language like that. We'll be back in less than a minute. Crazy person. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Call us on hold, stand by. I'm just going to give a couple examples with this. This is a follow-up to the potty mouth caller. The White House yesterday put out a savings estimate from the big, beautiful bill that President Trump signed into law. And I did post this on my X, Brian Craig Show on X. And you click on your state, and it shows you what you're saving in your state. I'm going to click on Florida because I'm in Florida. First, real wage increase here in Florida is between $3,700 to $6,800. Real take-home pay increase is from $7,300 to $10,500. The no tax on tips share labor force benefit is 6%. The number of this is just Florida, by the way. The number of seniors benefiting from the no tax on Social Security now with that huge deduction, 4.8 million. No tax on overtime share of the workforce in the state of Florida. 22% of the workforce of Florida now no tax on their overtime. Let's see here. Jobs protected, 408,000, and it goes on and on. Now, the guy that called, the potty mouth caller, he was calling from Texas. The real take-home pay increase in the state of Texas is between $7,500 and $10,700. Think about that. No tax on overtime. That's 27% of the workforce in Texas saving on that. The no tax on Social Security. 4 million seniors in Texas. Huge deduction now on that. No tax on tips. That's 5% of the population of Texas, of their workforce. So if you go to this, you can click on your state and see. So, I worry about my own budget. Don't you? The United States, their budget, they'll be fine, okay? I'm worried about my own. All right. But most of us, I think that's how most people are that live in the real world. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
You made a comment which, to me, made perfect sense. It was crayons and fat pencils.
Yes.
And I think we need a lot of those in a lot of different places. And one of them would be New York City. But, to me, I was really worried about New York City, then I wasn't, and now I'm just like, it's not that I don't care. I don't have any, I just look at it like this. If you vote for Jogn, the commie, it's like a vote for Hitler. Now, Hitler controlled the media. He doesn't control the media. We're all going to get to see this disaster. If he does get in, the only good thing that come out of it is the disaster that will happen. We'll see it, and that'll bring people.
And I'll tell you another thing about it. Jogn has never really had a job, and you're going to put him in. Being the mayor of New York City is a higher position than being the governor of most states. And in my time. I've known people that have passed away and they had a very successful business that they left to their children. You come back in a year, the business is bankrupt. Bankrupt. Not even sold because there's nothing left. And, you turn over an economy like New York City to a communist who's never had a job, who's 33 years old, it's going to be a wreck. It's going to be wrecked.
They're voting for a gigantic slap in the face of reality if they vote for that guy. But again, it will bring to me somebody like it'll bring a Trump-like person into power to fix it, and then people will get to see the difference, like the difference from Biden to the difference of Trump right now, and that'll just bring so many people, so many MAGA voters.
Well, you can say that. I mean, if Obama would, who was. I know Obama looks like Ronald Reagan compared to a lot of these liberals today, but Obama was such a wreck and such a disaster that it paved the way for President Trump to come down the escalator, right? So you could make that case.
Though, of Obama, but you look at the coverage of Obama going back again. We're in such a new time now because the media back then with Obama, it was much more of a controlled media. So now it's not. So I just think it will help. I mean, again, it depends on the amount of destruction, but it's not going to work. We both, I think any reasonable person can agree that it's going to be a disaster if this guy gets in. So, but they don't realize it. It's like the kid and the guy talking about the bank robberies, making the analogy of that with regard to Gaza. The kid talking about the restrictions, for Hamas, the restrictions that Israel and Egypt put on, the border restrictions. That wasn't for women and children. That was for, they didn't want the fighters coming in. Why you don't want fighters going into Egypt or Israel, but not the women and children. Hamas kept them there because when women and children die, that brings headlines, that brings sympathy.
Yeah.
So the kid doesn't realize it. I mean, the three genocides. The first one was October 7th, Hamas against Israel. Then the second was Hamas against its own people.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one was Hamas with the media and the idiots who believe it against the world. And the idiots that believe it were this poor guy talking about the bank robbers and the kid talking about, they had restrictions. They wouldn't let people out.
Yeah.
They don't dig. They only go so far in the media. And the propaganda specialists of Hamas, they count on that.
That's true. Hey, listen, you're right. I appreciate you're right. Thanks for the call. Yeah, I agree with everything you said. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Leona Deans from Virginia Beach.
All right, Virginia Beach. What's on your mind?
Well, I don't have any questions, Brian, because you explain everything so well that it's so easy to understand. But I do have some comments. I want to say to you, Brian, that you explain everything so accurately and so thorough that I totally feel like I'm on top of everything that's going on. You're the only radio program or even the TV conservative programs that I tune into to get the correct and most accurate information. And
well, thank you.
I just wanted to tell you that.
Well, I appreciate that.
And I think that you were the number 2 Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, well, that's a compliment.
You should be recognized for that.
Well, I thank you.
I know the White House listens to you, and I really think that I would love to see President Trump recognize you for your loyalty and your support. It's wonderful.
Well, thank you.
We're very lucky to have you.
Well, I'm lucky to have you. I appreciate you listening and your kind words.
And you look so wonderful. And I want to tell you, I've joined the Coastal Weight Loss because of you. And I've done really, really well on it. I was getting down to my goal, and I had to pause. I was in the hospital for bypass surgery for 3 weeks. But when I got home, I got in touch with them. They were so wonderful, and I'm back on the program now, and I'm feeling great.
Well, that's awesome. Well, that's good to hear. Well, thanks so much, Virginia Beach. I appreciate the call.
You're so welcome.
All right, take care.
God bless you.
All right, take care. Did you hear what she said? She's in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And she's lost all this weight from Coastal Weight Loss Secret. That's so nice. I told you guys, no matter where you're located, I'll give you the number again, since she mentioned 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. That was so nice of her. Well, in the next hour, I'm going to go into some other things, but you're welcome to call in about any and everything I brought up so far on the program today. But I'm going to bring up some new things in the next hour because a lot is going on in the news that we got to cover. Now, I do want to remind you guys, in March is our 10th annual MAGA cruise. Steve Kane and I, each year, we take a cruise with our great listeners, and this time we are off to Antigua and Nassau and the Virgin Islands. I can't remember if it's the British or the U.S. Virgin Islands, but they're both beautiful. I've never been to Antigua. I'm very excited. And I haven't been to Nassau since I was a kid. I'm very excited about going back to Nassau. And we're going to have a great time. We're going on the Celebrity Beyond. You know, Celebrity Cruise Lines is a luxury cruise line. Okay? It is now, the price is lower than these other ones you hear about all the time for a couple reasons. One, we have a long relationship with Celebrity, so we get an incredible rate. Ian from Cruise and Travel Depot, our travel agent that's handled all of our cruises for these 10 years, negotiates a great rate for our listeners. So when you call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot and you book, you're paying less than anybody else on the ship. And I'll tell you, drinks and Wi-Fi are included. And if you don't drink, talk to Ian. There's some other options and things he can help you with. But you're going to get a great deal, and you're going to have a great time with our mega group. And those of you that have been before, Ian and I are doing some things differently on this one that you are going to love. We have incredible shore excursions planned. I'm going to give you Ian's number. Give him a call. Now, if you get his answer machine, leave your name and your phone number so we can call you back if you get that voicemail, okay? Because he talks to everyone himself, and he may be on the phone with someone. Leave your name and number, and he will call you back. This is the number for Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot. We leave in March on the Celebrity Beyond, which is a beautiful ship. His number is 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. That's 561-244-5779. All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to get into some other issues and stories when we get back. But as I said, you're welcome to call in about anything I brought up since 6 a.m. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. We'll take our break for the top of the hour and be right back. Don't go anywhere. Now, I want to tell you guys, if you want to get a good night's sleep, get yourself a 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. You know, you can get a 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper with my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, at mypillow.com for 30% off. I've been sleeping on my MyPillow mattress topper, as has my wife next to me, for years. I get about 4 hours of sleep a night, between 4 and 5 hours, depending on what night of the week. You know, what the MyPillow mattress topper does, it turns your entire bed into a big MyPillow. So that 4 to 5 hours of sleep I get every night is deep, well-rested sleep because of that mattress topper. You know, it comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee, a 10-year warranty. It's machine washable and dryable, and it will change your life, let me tell you. You know, when I was a kid growing up, and I know a lot of you are old enough to remember this, you used to be able to flip mattresses. Remember that? Remember the days when you could flip a mattress? You'd have a mattress, and then, you know, for whatever reason, it got lumpy, lopsided or something, and you'd flip it over, and then it was like having a brand new mattress. Well, years ago, the mattress companies, they got real wise to that. You can't flip mattresses anymore. It's like a box spring underneath, right? So if you've got, and mattresses are expensive. If you have a lumpy, bumpy mattress, a lopsided mattress, or think you need a new mattress, go to mypillow.com. Get your 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. It comes in every mattress size there is. Use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and get 30% off. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, Kane. All right, we'll be back shortly. Okay, if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in less than a minute. If you're on hold, hang in there. I got a few things I want to bring up in the next hour. When we open up this hour, I should say. One of them I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Hour number 3 has begun now. Before I get back to the national issues, there's one or two things I'm going to mention that I'm going to throw out there. And this first one, I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm going to bring it up anyway because it's a local thing that's really annoying me a lot. And I don't know. I don't even know if I'm allowed to talk about it. I may get in trouble for bringing this up. I'll find out around 9:01. Maybe I'll find out during the break. I don't know. I don't know. You ever see the Buddy Holly story? I love that movie. Anybody remember who played Buddy Holly? Anybody remember? They were on The Celebrity Apprentice. Anybody remember? But you know how you see those movies like the Buddy Holly story or La Bamba, and they get a hit record because the DJ locks himself in the studio and plays the record over and over for 12 hours or something like that? That's all BS. If a DJ got that out of control, they would just pull the plug on, the other room or the transmitter or something. But what I'm about to bring up, I don't know if Gary Busey, that's correct. The great Gary Busey. The reason I say I shouldn't bring this up is two reasons. One, it's a very local issue, although I think it's important. And the other one is some people may think I'm anti-cop here, and I don't think I'm anti-cop. But there's a speed trap that's been going on for a long time, and it seems to have amped up recently in Broward County. And we're talking like boss hog kind of speed trap here. And I see this anytime I drive through this area. And it involves two police departments. Coral Springs and Coconut Creek. And this is just, I'm not for people speeding, and they have a speed trap on 441. And it's on the borderline between Coconut Creek, the city of Coconut Creek, and Coral Springs. And it is an area where people get a little lead foot. And what happens is on 441, also known as State Road 7, in the old days, they have a bridge now that goes over Sample Road, and there used to be a regular 441 intersection. And what happens with this bridge that goes over Sample Road, both north and southbound on State Road 7, people get a little lead foot on that bridge. I don't know why it is. I don't, because I know there's a speed trap there. But this is no secret. It's been there for years. Sometimes most often it's motorcycle cops. I saw this week, an unmarked SUV that was doing it. And I don't know if people get lead foot on that bridge. You guys know what I'm talking about? The bridge that goes over Sample Road on 441. I know a lot of you know about this. And I don't know if people get lead foot because Florida is flat, at least South Florida. We're flat, and you don't have too many hills. People drive over this bridge. It's almost like a hill, so they speed up to go over it. And it also kind of looks like a freeway for a brief little time. And you get to the other side, and there they are. Now, I never get busted by this because I know they're there. And all the other local people know that's there. The only people that get busted by this, I would assume, are people that don't know the area very well. But there is not a day that I drive through this, no matter what day of the week it is or time of day, that I don't see them having sometimes multiple people pulled over. And I was telling you guys yesterday, I went and test drove with my daughter just for fun that electric Volkswagen bus. I mean, it's in that area, and they got all these people pulled over during the whole time that we're test driving. I saw them yesterday. I drove through there. What usually happens is I'm going somewhere. I drive one direction. I'll see them having people pulled over, and then when I'm coming back, I'll see them pulling people over again. And it seems to me that lately they've increased the presence there of the officers doing that. Now, I'm very pro-police, and I'm opposed to people speeding. And 441 is not the interstate highway, so I understand it has to be policed. But to me, it's become borderline harassment. I think that the speeding, I know, it's a locally, I told you, maybe I shouldn't even be talking about this. But people that drive through that area, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's borderline harassment. They could do some other things to slow people down. They could put some signs on both sides of that bridge that goes over 441 that are big and bright with lights around them telling people what the speed limit is. They could put some police cruisers around there that don't have anybody in there, that are just sitting there. Like they used to have one I don't know if this one's still there, but they used to have one on the Sawgrass Expressway when you were heading to the ramp that would take you to the Sawgrass, either north or south. They had a Florida Highway Patrol car there in the middle of the lanes for years that had a mannequin in it and a Florida Highway Patrol trooper uniform with the hat on. And even though I knew it was there, I never knew for sure. So I always made sure that I was going the speed limit or under. But they're pulling so many people over, it makes me not want to drive through there. Not because I'm speeding, it's just such harassment. And there's people there that have businesses, and it's not good for the businesses in the area. I go over there sometimes because there's an Arby's there, and I love Arby's, and there aren't that many Arby's around anymore. So I go through that way a lot to go to Arby's, and every time I go to Arby's, there's usually someone getting a ticket when I pull in, and then when I pull out of the drive-thru, there's somebody else there. And I think it's just gotten a little out of control. And I support the police, but is that police work? And one thing they do that really burns, this bothers me, okay? This bothers me. There's a lot of guys that have their own small business, whether it's a lawn crew or a pool service. And they pull these people over that have trailers all the time. And when I was over there on Saturday with my daughter, I saw one of them pulled over a guy with a trailer. And you pull over these guys that have a lawn crew or a trailer. I mean, I understand. Maybe it's not completely up to Florida. I don't know. But tickets are expensive. And you give a guy a ticket who's got a lawn crew, how many lawns does he have to mow to pay for that ticket? The guy that's got the pool service, how many pools does he have to clean to pay for that ticket? And a lot of times, I think, sometimes you'll hear me talk to Richie about this, okay? Because he's a retired bus driver, worked for the government his whole life. I think a lot of times, some police officers who, because they work for the government their whole life, I don't think they understand what a financial penalty it is to people. And my guess would be that if you pulled over 10 guys that are either have a lawn crew trailer behind them, with their mowers, or those little tiny trailers, the guys that are the pool guys, I would imagine out of 10 of them, you could probably write tickets for 7 or 8 of them, right? Harassing these guys that are working so hard. And when I see one of them pulled over, I'm like, really? Really? And it's really, when I say Boss Hogg, for those that aren't old enough to remember Boss Hogg, Dukes of Hazzard, it's really kind of like small town Hicksville thing they're doing over there. And the only reason I bring this up is because I've noticed in the last, I don't know how long, the last week or two or so, that it's a much heavier presence over there than normal. That there's got to be other ways. Like in my neighborhood, there's an area where people get a little lead foot, and they've done, I've called the county trying to get a 4-way stop sign put in. I've left messages for people many times over the years. Nobody ever got back to me about it. And I don't know why they don't do that, because that would slow the traffic down on this particular road. But what they've done in its place is they put up one of those trailers that show the speed limit, and if you go over the speed limit, it flashes. You see those? And that's had a big effect. Put that on both sides of that bridge over Sample Road on 441. That would slow people down a lot. I don't know. Well, that's just me. I know we have people in the audience who drive that area, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. And, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'll get in trouble for talking about it. I don't know. You know, I better avoid that area in my car, especially after talking about it. But it's just the police presence is just has gotten too high and overwhelming in the speed trap. Before, it used to be like 2 motorcycle cops. For years, 2 motorcycle cops. But now it's a lot more. It's almost like they got a dragnet going on. All right, now I'll take our first break of the hour, and I'll get back into the national political stories. But that's, you know, just it's been bothering me a lot. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, by the way. You know, what do you think about it? I know we got people in the audience that drive that area a lot. If you do, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so far as the cops, I don't know if I blame the cops because obviously they're being sent out there to do it. So I don't know if it's their choice to do it, but I wouldn't like doing it. If I were those cops and I was taking a guy's whole day's wages of mowing lawns away or pool cleanings a day with a single ticket, I wouldn't like myself too much doing that. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. My name's Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Our number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Hey, Barry, it's Brian. Hold on. All right, we're back, and it's time to check in with attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, Barry. We caught each other off guard because I got Barry on the line the second we were coming back, which means you always got to be prepared. So what do you have for us, Barry, today?
That's okay. When people set up their wills and trusts and they leave their assets to their named beneficiaries, perhaps their spouse if they're married or if not, or their children, they believe that those assets are going to go to those children where the children will be able to keep those assets. And that could happen, but it may not happen if it's not set up properly. And that's where we go into the bloodline protection. Bloodline protection, when we review people's estate plans, we find that roughly 80 to 90% of people do not have the bloodline protection built into their estate plans, meaning that if they leave their assets, which is the opposite of the bloodline, is outright, they leave it outright to their children in their names, then those children could end up receiving that inheritance, potentially, number one, commingling it with their spouse, of course, if they're married. And now that is not your child's money. It's the money belongs to your child and their husband or wife. And so should there be a divorce, then half of that money could end up going to your future ex-in-law. Should your child unfortunately predecease their spouse, then all of those assets would then be owned solely by their spouse. And the point is, generally people want the assets to go down the bloodline from them to their children, then to the grandchildren. But if it goes to a spouse, and that spouse may not even be the parent of the grandchildren there, it could end up keep going sideways and not stay in the family bloodline. And that's not even mentioning, Brian, of course, creditors and lawsuits that can take it away too if it's not properly set up. So that's one of the things we do at the Siegel Law Group, and one of the things that we will do a free review of your current plan to make sure that you have this and other important things in your estate plan to make sure it's going to work for you when you need it and you have the peace of mind. So you don't have to worry about it.
And this happened to Steve Kane. Steve Kane's dad was a very wealthy guy, and he was married to a much younger woman, and he passed away. The much younger wife got everything, and then she died like within the next year, and her family got the Steve Kane family fortune, and Steve and his sister got nada. Because they didn't do that bloodline planning. And that's pretty normal, you would think. It's sad, but it happens more often than you would realize, and it doesn't have to be that way. Call the Siegel Law Group. I also want to remind you guys, even though haven't been promoting it this week because it's filled up, but I look forward to meeting all of you at Attorney Barry Siegel's Medicaid workshop Saturday at 10 a.m. at his Boca office, and it's all filled up, those of you that called for reservations. So I look forward to seeing you all. I even got a haircut, Barry, for everybody yesterday.
That's great.
Isn't it nice? I did get I'm not kidding. I got a haircut. My wife said, you can't go to Barry's office unless you get a haircut. You need a haircut. Here's the number, though, to the Siegel Law Group. Set up your no-charge in-office consultation. And if you're going to the workshop on Saturday and need directions, they can help you with that, too. 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk later in the week, and I'll see you Saturday morning.
Perfect. Thank you, Brian.
All right, take care. All right, I'm going to go back to the phones. You're welcome to call in about anything I've brought up since 6. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Never Trumper Steve here in Palm City, Brian.
Hey, Steve.
Now, MAGA got started originally
by Ronald Reagan.
Basically, America is led by a ruling class of pedophiles, according to MAGA. No. And Trump promises to drain the swamp and to root it out. Does that sound fair so far?
No, but go ahead with your prepared statement.
Okay. Well, you started the show with 2 audio statements, both of which are categorically false. I know you know they're false, but, you have a MAGA infomercial, so you have to run it. When you ran what Trump said yesterday, that Comey and Obama are responsible for what's in those files, do you believe that's a true statement?
Yeah, they were. It was during their rule that all that was put together, according to the president who's seen the files. See, President Trump, unlike you or me, has seen the information. We have not. He has.
Okay. Okay, so let me straighten this out for your listeners, because I know you don't want to tell the truth on the matter. Comey was out of government in 2017, and of course Obama was no longer president. Epstein was first arrested in 2019. There was no file in 2017.
No. There's a couple things you're missing.
That's yes.
No. How long have you lived in Florida?
Since 2003.
Okay. Then you may remember, years before the world heard of Jeffrey Epstein, he was in the local news for years. He was always in court in Florida, and it was a big Florida story. It would lead every local newscast. It was on the front page of the Palm Beach Post, the Miami Herald, and the Sun Sentinel in Broward County almost every day. Okay, this case goes way back. But the belief that many, but so far as the Epstein files, we can't really talk about them because you and I haven't seen them. The president knows what's in them. Well, so we have to take him at his word, which I always do.
Yes, he does. And he told Bondi, put the kibosh on it, nothing to see here. When he said in your second tape today, Bondi can release whatever she wants, Who believes that?
See,
he decides.
See, now
what
here's
he can say.
now here's he you know, the investigation of Epstein started like in 05 or 6 or something. So, you know, it goes way back.
Yeah, I don't agree with that statement.
Look it up. Look it up online. No,
I-
look it up online. But listen, the debate will soon be over because the president twice said yesterday, Pam Bondi, he gave her the green light to release them all. Hey, listen, appreciate the call. You see how obsessed they're obsessed with the Epstein. Don't worry, they're coming out. President said yesterday twice, and you'll have all your answers. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
703.
Okay, I hear something in the background. Once, twice. It sounded like a police scanner in the background. Yeah, it is. It's a police scanner. Someone. I tell you, these people. Somebody's got the phone up with a police scanner in the background that make me think they're a cop. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Yeah, turn down the volume in the background, Jeff.
I just did.
Okay, what's your name?
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome.
I'm a first-time caller, but I just want to say that I start out every single morning with your show, and I really enjoy it.
Thank you.
I'm a former traffic sergeant for the city of Coral Springs.
There we go. Okay.
I just wanted to respond to your.
Oh boy, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble.
Statement.
Okay.
So first of all, it's not called a speed trap. We respond to citizen complaints, and the officers respond to where the citizens complain the most. And the businesses actually love the officers being there. Most of the cars that we stop there, me personally, I've stopped cars there in the 80s, 90 miles an hour. That's how fast we're stopping cars that go along that roadway.
Yeah.
And I personally think, what's that?
Okay, I'm listening to you.
And I just personally think that, you saying your daughter moved back from California, I'm sure you'd want the officers doing their job, slowing people down with your daughter on the roadway and other people on the roadway. Those guys are out there because citizens are complaining. We put speed boards out there multiple times on both sides of the roadway with the messages of slow down or with the speed limit sign on there. So we do all kinds of enforcement out there, and we also do citizen awareness by putting those speed boards out there.
See, okay, now there's a couple things, and I'm glad you called, okay? And I was hoping to hear from an officer to talk about it. It's one of the reasons I brought it up, okay? I didn't bring it up not to have anybody call and challenge me.
I'm actually a former sergeant that directed the officers to go out there.
Oh my goodness! Oh, you're my favorite. Okay, now first off, to say that the businesses like it, that's absurd. Because it makes people want to avoid that area. Nobody wants to drive that area. But the problem, let me ask you this though about the problem. I've been driving through that area since before they had that flyover bridge. And there's something about that flyover bridge over Sample Road on 441 that causes people to get lead foot there. I don't know what it is. Right. I don't know if it's because it's uphill or if and they speed up to go uphill because we don't drive, it kind of looks like a freeway. I don't know what it is, but there's a problem with that flyover that causes people to increase. Because once you get over on either side, you're at a light. So you know what I mean? And the officers are always on the north side. I rarely see them on the south side, if ever. So there's just something about that. So it seems to me something could be done to slow people down over that flyover.
And I don't disagree with you, but I can tell you we have put signs out there, speed board messaging signs for people to slow down. We put signs out there showing how fast the cars are going, and then we substitute that with enforcement. But the officers, every time you see a car pulled over and the officer's talking to the citizen, that doesn't necessarily mean they're getting a ticket. So officers go out there and they use their discretion whether they want to write a ticket or not. A lot of times the officers will stop cars. Like you said, there's a business person, with a trailer, a lawn service, whatever the case is, and the officers use their discretion whether they want to write a ticket or not. Just because you see officers out there, that doesn't necessarily mean they're writing people tickets. A lot of times the officers are given verbal warnings, or they're given
if you pull over, if you pull over someone, go ahead. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
Our main goal is to slow people down and save lives, because I personally knocked on people's doors and told them that their kids are not coming home.
as a result of
listen. My guess would be because there's been motor officers there for years, and so anyone who
I was one of them.
Oh my goodness! Well, you've never given me a ticket because I've never gotten tickets there, but I haven't gotten a ticket in years and years and years because I do drive responsibly. Right. I'm not driving around like a lunatic, and I don't support people doing that. However, for those that don't know the area, there's this little area that's about a half a mile to a quarter mile that turns into a racetrack. I get that. Something needs to be done to stop it. But the people that get stopped are not the regular people that drive through there, because we all know that those motorcycle cops that are right there, that they're like a landmark. We all know it's there. So anybody that drives...
It's funny you bring... I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's funny you bring that up because, believe it or not, as crazy as that sounds, a lot of times the people we do stop, we look at their driver's licenses, obviously, and it's either Coral Springs or Margate.
Well, they must not drive there too often. Anytime I go either way on that bridge, especially when I'm heading north, I always make sure that when I get to the top, I'm slowing down, because the city could do something beyond this. And when I was over there, the reason I brought it up is I noticed this week there's an unmarked SUV, which is new, that's got the radar gun that's getting everybody. And there's a much heavier police presence there than normal.
Right. Well, I could tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, we've had unmarked in that unit, in the traffic unit, since I was transferred to the traffic unit, which is I think about 2008, 2009. We've had an unmarked car in that unit, and not only is our agency, other agencies have unmarked cars also. We use an unmarked car. We use marked cars. We do anything we can to try to get the public to slow down.
Well, I know people are going to be ticked off at me for bringing this up. Maybe some cops,
I'm not.
but I think letting people know. I know you don't like the term speed trap, but that's what we civilians call it. Alerting people to the speed trap on the air very well may slow people down there. So I may be doing a bit of a public service. But if you pull over these guys, here in Florida, we got a lot of guys that have lawn crew trailers with their trailers, and the pool guys. Yep. If you pull over 10 guys that are pool guy trailers or have a lawn trailer, how many of them are in violation out of 10, would you guess?
Every car we pull over is in violation of something.
Exactly.
If we pull over,
it's an easy ticket.
If we pull over a trailer, a lawn trailer, a pool person, whoever it is, just because we pull them over, that doesn't necessarily mean we're giving them a ticket.
But if you do...
tell them, hey, listen, just so you know, your trailer light is out.
Yeah.
Just so you know, you don't have a license tag on the back of your car. Every time we pull somebody over, it doesn't necessarily mean we're giving them a ticket. We're about educating.
When you give on average, when you pull somebody over that has a lawn crew trailer or one of those pool guy trailers, and they get a ticket, what's the average ticket cost? The average fine, would you say, off the top of your head?
Most of the time, what ends up happening is they'll hire a traffic ticket attorney, and they won't even go to court.
Yeah, but if they had to pay it, what's the average fine?
If I had to guess, maybe $75, $80.
$80.
If I had to guess,
I can't imagine.
I'm not talking about speed. I'm talking about equipment. I'm really not sure as far as like how much it would cost for a speed ticket, but I can tell you the officers use their discretion.
Okay.
Every single stop.
All right.
Every single time they use their discretion.
All right. Well, don't be putting my name out. Don't be putting my name up on the wall or anything to look for me. But
listen, first of all, I'm retired. Recently retired, but I had to call. Number one, I love the show. I listen to it every single morning. But when you started specifically talking about that area and the motorcycle...
Well, there was a guy... Okay, there was a guy for years... Okay, there was a BSO deputy for years in Parkland, and I haven't seen him in a while. He was bald. And every time I would... He was in Parkland around 441 Hillsborough area, right up the street from your speed trap, okay? And he would pull people... Every time I drove by, he'd have somebody pulled over. And I'd come back, he's got somebody else pulled over. And I was at Jersey Mike's, and I saw a deputy, and I brought it up to him. And he says, the speed limit changes. It reduces 10 miles an hour right up the street there, and the sign's partially obstructed by a tree. And boom, and you could just get people all day with that. So, I
don't know. I don't necessarily know the area you're talking about, but I did want to call in only because of the fact I wanted to make sure that you had the right information that you were putting out. And we don't use speed traps. The officers are directed to where the officers are directed to go.
You agree with me though. You agree with me that bridge over Sample Road on 441, when people are going northbound for whatever reason, they get lead foot. When you have those motor officers are at the bottom of that bridge. They've been there for years, over a decade. Okay, when people are coming down that bridge, they're at their peak speed, but they slow down once they get past there. They go up, they speed up, they go over, and it causes them to accelerate. If they had another 50 to 100 feet, they'd be back at a normal speed. You guys are positioned in a spot where you get them at maximum acceleration, and it's only for a brief period of time. And I just think it's a little much. But what are you going to do? I guess I'll take Lions Road for a while instead of 441 when I go through there.
You don't have to do that as long as you drive consistent with the speed limit.
Yes.
And you drive consistent with traffic, you'll have nothing to worry about.
Okay.
We're looking for the outliers more than anything.
Okay.
Those are the
But you understand what I mean though? When people are coming down,
I do.
There's a brief acceleration, and they'll get back to a normal speed if they have and you guys are right there. You know what you're doing. I'm not disagreeing.
But you also agree with me in the fact that if somebody is going, if the speed limit is 45 miles an hour and they're going 75, 80 miles an hour down there, which happens all day long while we sit there, that is way too fast for the public to be traveling.
Yes, I agree.
With kids and
I agree, and it's a high traffic area.
In the car and everything else.
And it's right there by the casino and all that. What we're talking about. All right, appreciate the call, retired Coral Springs sergeant. By the way, you guys did a great job at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. We got to give them a
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right,
we appreciate it.
Yeah, take care.
And I love the program.
All right, take care.
Welcome.
All right, take care. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. Calling me out. Okay, we'll take our break and be back. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. I went way late on that break, so... Do you guys think that the business owners like their customers being pulled over? I don't think so. We'll be back shortly. Less than a minute, we'll be back. Pesco. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. I'll take another call or two, then I went way long on that break, and some people have been holding on, and then I've got some more things to cover. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian.
Yes. Yes.
Just got crushed.
And?
Are you there?
I'm here, yeah. What's on your mind?
Yeah, you know what? You were stating how people, like in landscaping trucks and pool services, are getting pulled over. Well, do you think they're in that area a lot because they have clients? You were defending, well, it's okay to speed, endanger lives.
Is this Greg too? Is this Greg too? What's your name?
He crushed you.
Is this Greg?
Greg from Boca.
Okay, Greg, okay.
What
do you mean crushed me?
He just crushed you.
What do you mean crushed me?
He had to knock on doors and tell parents their children aren't coming home.
Yeah.
And you're worried about a speed trap.
Well, if if you drove through there, you wouldn't like it either.
I've driven through there.
This is so pathetic. You're so pathetic.
We're a land of laws, right?
What?
Aren't we a land of laws?
You're so very interesting. You think, you only feel good if you think I look bad.
Because you know what?
It's like you listen to the show every day just to try to hear me, get caught by someone.
You just have people that co-sign your garbage.
What?
And you're worried about
I don't even understand what that phrase means.
Because you go to Arby's.
You don't like Arby's?
I don't eat fast food.
Oh, I do.
Well, you know what? Well, start cooking at home maybe, or get
Who doesn't like Arby's? What kind of guy? You're the only guy I know that doesn't like Arby's.
You know what? I don't eat fast food. It's unhealthy.
Yeah, but it tastes so good. Now, but listen. With everything this is so interesting.
I know where
with everything that's with everything that's going on. Excuse me. With everything that's going on, this is what you call about?
You were worried about a speed trap because you have to go to Arby's. And by the way, you went out and wasted some salesperson's time to drive an electric vehicle around thinking he might
I told them I wasn't. I told them when I went in, I talked to the sales manager. I said, I'm not buying anything. I said, I'm not buying anything. I want to look at the car and drive it. It looks cool.
Do then just go drive cars around that you don't have any.
I was spending the day with my daughter, and we wanted to go look at it.
For what? Just because you have nothing better to do?
No, because I tell you, this is wonderful. This is wonderful. My daughter and I were at lunch, okay, and we had lunch, and we saw. We were not. We were at Culver's, which is right down the street, and we saw one of those those new Volkswagens drive by us, and my daughter says that looks pretty cool, and I said, yeah, it does. And we were leaving, and I said, oh, you know what? There's the Volkswagen dealerships there. Why don't we go look at one to see what they look like up close inside? And we did. And we spent daddy-daughter time together. Huh?
No intention of buying.
I told them why I wasn't going to buy. I said, I'm not buying anything. I told them what happened. My daughter and I want to see what it looks like. And they wanted, I said, I'm not buying anything.
Do you think that sales representative who could have been attending to a serious buyer is thinking maybe he has a shot with you? Do you think, let's go take it for a test drive?
I said, I'm not buying anything. I said, I am not buying anything, especially for $94,000.
Listen, you talked about the economy, and I'm all for you. Listen, Trump tax cuts.
All right, appreciate the call, Greg. Talk about desperation, right? Desperation. No one's as desperate, though, as Governor Newsom. Listen, this is Governor Newsom.
Community, all these mixed status families, $8.5 billion in tax collection in California every year from undocs. $8.5 billion that we receive.
Okay, now this is an interesting thing. I've never heard this racial slur before, but Governor Newsom just used a racial slur that I've never heard of before. Undocs. Undocs. That's how he refers to the migrants. That they get so upset with us if we call them illegal, if we disrespect them, if we want them to show some ID or some documents. We're big. He calls them undocs. Is that a racial slur?
Community, all these mixed status families, $8.5 billion in tax collection in California every year from undocs. $8.5 billion that we receive just at the state level of taxes. That was the last Pew estimate. So it's not insignificant. Backbone, I mean, it's half of our agriculture work. You care about farmers and ranchers? If that's what your number one go-to commitment, then you sure as hell should care about their workers. 41% of our construction workers, Texas and California have the highest percentage of their construction workers that would fall into that category.
Oh, wow. 41% of construction workers in California are what Newscom would call undocs, illegals. What does that mean? That means 41% of the construction jobs are not available for American construction workers. And that also means since almost half of the workforce is illegal, working under the table, they brought the wages down. And so far as this tax revenue, he's talking about sales tax when they buy things, I guess. So almost half of the construction workforce, and he's proud of this, are taking jobs away from either legal immigrants or American citizens. This is the guy they think is going to be president. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take our last break and be right back. Hey there, hold on. If you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome back. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show. It's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how the metals looking?
Well, metals looking still very firm above the support levels and doing very well after a little bit of pullback yesterday. We're back up again today. We've seen this back and forth action for weeks now as the metals continue to try to break out of these trading ranges. Overnight, yesterday we saw gold trade in a range of $3,319 on the low to $3,367 on the high, and closing out the day down $19.50 at $3,322.60 the ounce. Silver closed down 43 cents yesterday after trading higher, closing at $37.64 the ounce. Platinum was up $4 at $1,364, although we did get up over $1,400 at one point yesterday. And palladium closed up $10 at $11.92. Overnight, we saw gold trading in a range of $3,322 on the low, all the way up to $3,343. And right now we're at $3,334 for gold, up $11.40. Silver up 21 cents at $37.85 the ounce. Platinum up $33 at $1,397, and palladium up $28 at $1,220 the ounce. So the markets are doing pretty much very well considering the summer doldrums that we usually experience for precious metals during this time of the year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know, a listener asked me the other day, William Youngerman, why does William, you get gold, silver, platinum, I get, but why palladium? There's coins and things that are made of palladium.
Absolutely, we sell palladium bars and gold and coins. The U.S. makes a beautiful 1 ounce coin, or they did, and of course the bars are the most affordable way to invest in palladium. And if you remember, palladium was up over $4,000 an ounce in recent years, so It's pulled back dramatically, and a lot of people are looking at it as an investment metal. Yeah, it's a sister metal to platinum, and actually you have to mine platinum. They get palladium with it, so it was an alternative for catalytic converters quite a bit. It was so much cheaper than platinum years ago, and then it actually become more valuable than platinum. But Both of the platinum base metals, platinum and palladium, are good values and very strategic industrial metals, which a lot of people like to hold as a part of their portfolio.
Yeah, so William Youngman does have palladium. That's why he mentions it every day. We just don't talk about it so much. It's more of it's very valuable. It's just not as popular as gold, silver, or platinum typically. But no, you can get it in coin form. And you said bar. I did not know it came in bar form.
Yes, we do.
Okay. So listen, William Youngman opens up at, sorry about that. I hit my mic. Sorry about that. William Youngman opens up at 10 a.m. You can stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. You can give them a call, and remember, you can do your transactions over the phone and through the mail at 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010, and find both his phone number and address online at williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll touch base tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day. Thank you.
All right, take care. Now, I want to tell you guys, I've been talking about Dr. Appleton for a long, long time now. He does great work. He's rid me of pain 7 times. But what I learned recently from Dr. Appleton, and it makes sense, I don't know why this didn't occur to me before, but he's the doctor. I'm not, right? I'm just some guy telling you about the doctor. But the laser wave pain treatment treats injuries related to car accidents, whiplash, joint inflammation, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, all these pains we talk about. People suffer from car accidents. Sometimes they're driving, sometimes they're a passenger, maybe you're in an Uber or a Lyft, and it works. And remember, Dr. Appleton, appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain, like I've done 7 times. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Mark from Jupiter.
Hey, Mark. Hold on, Mark. I'm answering all these busy phones. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, real quick, you were talking earlier about the conditions at Alligator Alcatraz and all that. People forget that our military, when I was in the Marine Corps, we had tents in the desert out at Gila Bend, just east of Yuma. And we'd be out there for a month at a time with no air conditioning in the desert, in tents. We'd have to put our shoes up on top of the cots during the day, shoes we weren't wearing, boots we weren't wearing, because the scorpions would get into your boots, and everybody had to shake their shoes out in the morning. So, everybody cries that criminals aren't getting, amazing conditions that they would like at a hotel in New York City. But, our military doesn't have air conditioning as well, especially all the places they go in the Middle East. So just something to keep in mind for people.
It's amazing to me how the liberals are just, I don't even think they hear themselves. These Democrats like Debbie Wasserman Schultz, they're always advocating for people that are not Americans. I was talking earlier, there's a jail right down the street that's a Dade County jail, the Chrome Detention Center. It is, from what I understand, it's a dungeon, okay? I don't see these Democrats, and I'm not saying that criminals deserve to have, luxury accommodations, but they don't really care about the accommodations of people, or they'd be at the county jail griping about that. They just don't care. These illegals, they're their constituents. That's the reality.
It's unbelievable that they can continue to run on that platform and that people don't see the zaniness and all that. But hey,
all right, appreciate the call. Take care. All right.
Take care.
All right, a veteran from Jupiter. Now this guy that assassinated these politicians in Minnesota. Listen, this is the headline. Full handwritten letter of accused Minnesota political assassin to Kash Patel. And he said a lot of crazy things, including Tim Walz told him to do it. Now, I'm not suggesting that it's necessarily true that Tim Walz told him to do it. I don't know. I'll let the law enforcement sort that out. But there's really, this guy's handwritten note has been released. He blames Democrats for what he did. He names one by name, and it's like a media blackout. Now, it's on Fox, and conservatives like me are referencing and talking about it. But could you imagine if he had the same handwritten letter, and he was saying Trump told me to do it, and that I'm MAGA, and this borders language culture, and close down the. it would be top and bottom of the hour breaking news sounders that would start a dialogue about MAGA being a domestic hate group and what about MAGA drove this man to do that. And when something like this comes out about a Democrat, it's always under the rug. Just like the guy that shot Steve Scalise was a campaign worker for Bernie Sanders. And he was trying to kill the entire Republican baseball team. And he almost killed Steve Scalise because they stopped him before he could do more damage. And that under the rug. And by noontime, they had Bernie Sanders apologize. I had nothing to do with this. And okay, nothing to see here. I know there's a double standard out there. I understand that. But I think people are too accepting of it. Yesterday I was talking about the big, beautiful indictment that we're hearing from Solomon that Pam Bondi's been preparing against all the lawfare against the president. And, the common thinking is, well, nothing's going to happen. No one's going to go to jail. Well, part of the reason that nothing's going to happen and no one is going to go to jail is because so many conservatives accept that and vocalize it. As an example, I started the show today at 6 a.m. playing 2 clips of our great president, Donald Trump, the best president ever, the best president not just of our lifetime, but arguably the greatest president this nation's ever had. And, twice yesterday, he said that Pam Bondi can release all the Epstein files. Now, there's a lot of things factoring in, and we don't know 100% what's going on because we haven't seen the information, but there's no doubt that conservatives saying we want these things so bad is why he's open to her doing it now and gave her the green light twice yesterday to release everything. So when you go around saying no one's going to get arrested, no one's going to go to jail, you're helping them get away with it. When, public outrage leads to things. Being vocal publicly about things gets things done. So don't just assume no one's going to jail. If no one said anything about the Epstein files, maybe the president wouldn't have said that yesterday twice. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, hey, man. This is Kim. Just wanted to check in. So I don't know if you've seen, but there are pictures now circulating of Pam Bondi and Trump and Epstein together back in the 80s.
In the 80s? I don't know.
Sure what we should make of that.
I would say probably nothing. Pam, I've not seen that. Listen, I have this personal appearance that I'm going to on Saturday, right? And I go on personal appearances. And I got a haircut. I was telling Attorney Barry Siegel I got a haircut because people are going to take my picture. People will take a picture I take pictures with listeners all the time. This may come as a surprise to you. When I take pictures with listeners, I do not do a background check. I don't know who they are or what they've done. Maybe they've broken the law. Maybe they haven't. I don't know. But are you saying that celebrities are responsible for all the behaviors of people they take photographs with?
So I don't know. I just think it's
no. I didn't ask. I don't repeat. Don't repeat what you said again. If you take a picture with someone, are you guilty of whatever it is they've done in their life when you don't know anything about them?
Well, I think intellectual curiosity is worth something, and it would be worth it.
So I'm going to a Star Trek convention next month. Okay. And there's a guy the guy that plays Captain Pike in the new Star Trek series. He's a liberal guy. He was said F MAGA and all this stuff on Twitter when Trump got elected. If I take a picture with him, does that mean he's MAGA?
So again,
because I'm MAGA. All right, think about that. I know. You didn't think that call too far ahead, did you? Oh my goodness. In Trump's first term. If you take a picture with someone, that meant you had sex with them. Remember Stormy Daniels? It just blows my mind. It blows my mind. He didn't think that too far ahead, did he? About an hour ago, I got a call from a nice lady who said all kinds of great things to me. I appreciated that. She was calling from Virginia Beach, Virginia. And she was telling me how much weight she's lost, this great weight loss that she's had thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And I've been telling you guys, no matter where you are in the United States, because of telemedicine, telehealth, they can help you. Here she is in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and she's so excited with all the weight she's lost thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. She said she's had great success. It's something. It works. Look at me. It's absolutely amazing. Give them a call. And again, you can take advantage of this no matter where you are in the United States. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlosssecret.com. See, people that are liberals, like that last caller, I don't even know if this photograph from the 80s is true. Really, Pam Bondi was hanging around with Trump in the 80s? I don't know about that. But they create these things in their mind, and they don't think 3 seconds ahead. Liberals do not apply logic to anything that they say, right? They just say things, and they don't think about if it makes sense or if it's logical. They just, boom. It's really sad, and they think they're so intellectually superior to all of us. Listen, guys, we're out of time for today. We'll be back tomorrow. This week is just flying by. It's Wednesday already. I can't believe it's Wednesday. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. And next month begins the 49th year of The Steve Kane Show on the radio in Florida. My name's Brian Craig. Stay tuned. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. If you're on hold, hang in there. You'll be first in line on tomorrow's show. God bless America, and God bless our favorite president, Donald Trump. All right, we're clear. Hey, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. Great calls today. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is, without question, where MAGA comes to talk. Take care. I'll see you later. I'll have a new podcast this afternoon, so make sure you click that notification bell.